Hi everybody. I can't hear myself clearly in my own ears. I should turn that up a bit so I can hear myself. How is everybody doing? You just, of course, came off of Rhythm Cafe. It's been a busy day here for Sundays. That's weird. I'm Beej. You're joining me on the Loading Ready Run Video Entertainment Network. We're having a bonus stream here. I'm going to do my 2020 spring anime season roundup, and mostly just filling in a bunch of talkie so that anybody else who's hearing about this at the last second can, of course, get in here and be a part of the stream, because I thought about this and I knew we were getting to the end of the season, and I'm like, okay, I either have to do it like today. I thought about this last night, so it was like I either have to do it on Sunday or I'm going to have to do it like sometime throughout the week. And then I start actually going through everything that's going on throughout the week and realize that when there's free time to stream, I'm not free, or the computer in my house that we used to stream from is not available either. So it kind of just turned into this thing of like, crap, I better do it today. So it's good to see all y'all. And I want to thank everybody who has been, the people who have been supporting our channel by, of course, just showing up, by letting your friends know that we exist. I'd really appreciate that. But also the people who back us financially, thanks to joining the YouTube memberships on our main channel on youtube.com/loadingreadyrun. The people who are backing us on Patreon at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. And of course, to all the Twitch watchers out there, thank you for your subscriptions and your bits. We will do some subs at different times throughout the throughout this stream. And yeah, if you're in the chat, hello, and if you're in the YouTube comments, hello, and let's run down about what this is. This isn't Beej's Anime Club. This isn't me saying, hey, this is how we have to, you know, this is how you should think of, you know, what the good stuff is and what the good stuff isn't, or anything like that. These are my opinions. This isn't about trying to get us all on the same team here. If you have a different opinion, if you like a series, or if you don't like a series, that's fine, because that's you. There's all sorts of reasons to, you know, why something might click with you, why something might not click with you. And also, please don't ever make me the authority. I'm literally requesting, please don't ever make me the authority from Loading Ready Run who tells you what anime is good and what anime is not good. Because if you've listened to Ano Ani in the past, you know that myself and Heather and Ian and Corey, all of us have various overlapping opinions about stuff that we like and stuff that we don't like versus what everybody else likes as well. And we're not even the we're probably the four biggest anime watchers, probably in Loading Ready Run, but we're not the only anime watchers. We're just the ones who were like opinionated about it, that we wanted to get together and have a podcast about it. So don't take me as the, you know, source of truth on any of these kind of matters. We will get to, actually, Jesus, there's already been notifications, so let's do some welcomes to give people a little more time to kind of flood in here. I want to welcome Nigolki, who's been subscribed for 16 months. That's a perfect square, and that's also binary. That's fantastic. Weebstream! So what should I rewatch next? Pat Labor, Utena, or Turn A Gundam? Oh, that's so tough. I don't know the one that you haven't watched the most recently, but I would say Utena is really strong. If you haven't seen it in a while, watch it again. If you have seen it recently, I like to think that I've learned more about watching Utena now and hadn't watched it in about 15, 20 years. I learned more about watching it now in the current cultural context, it was about a year or so ago, than I did when I had watched most of it and then tried to fill in the gaps with watching it soon afterwards. It's a funny thing about maturity, right? The more things you see and more things you're exposed to, that's great for giving you new perspectives and more information. So I also want to welcome Shorsha for 2 months. You came back. Thank you, Shorsho. Melody Dark's back for 33 months. Oh, you got married on Saturday. Congratulations. You were proposed to via Desert Bus. Was I around for that? I don't remember, but thanks for being charming, kind people. Well, thank you, Melody Dark, and congratulations on your marriage. Ferocious Peach has been subscribed for 53 months. Welcome back. Echo Tech Knight, back for the 45th month. Welcome back to you. E-Block with 378 bits, who is here for Beej's Anime Dictatorship. Crap. That wasn't mine. You're doing the opposite thing, E-Block. But you are bidding over 300 bits, and my understanding is that that campaign is still on, and I'll see in the chat in a few seconds, but I believe there's a campaign right now. Probably, I was assuming it's running all throughout June to support the if you bid 300 bits, Twitch is matching that, or they're doing donations 10 cents every time, something like that, to benefit both the Trevor Project and the National Black Justice Coalition, which I believe is both United States charities. And so if you are wanting to give us bits, if you have about 300 to give and you're going to parcel them out, just do it all at once, because that's even better, because that's going to get money to charities. J Blank for 39 months, welcome back. The Maricat gave a subscription to Anime Was Not Mistake. I agree. And CJ Caesar has been here for 2 years, welcome back. And Iris of Ether gave a sub to Sid, previously Headache. So, yeah, thank you for that. Appreciate that, and welcome to all these new people. And somebody did straight up tell me if I was right or not and how long it's going on for. The campaign, thank you Melody Dark, and thank you for Earth and One, through middle of July, basically till the 15th or the 16th. It probably depends on what part of the world you're in. For every cheer of 300 bits or more, paid sub or a gift sub, up to a total contribution of $300,000, they're going to be giving a maximum of that away, and hopefully they're crushing that already. Oh, and you get cute emotes. Look at all the emotes. That's awesome. Thank you, Pat Bear. So I get to beat Pat to market with their anime roundup. But yeah, I'll give you an important bit of context. Also, I have not finished everything, partially because some of these series got delayed, is a good way to put it. I was going to say dropped, but no, I'm the one who drops. They're the one who delays. I think I might have dropped stuff. I know that some things have been delayed due to COVID-19, and we also, Heather and I watch stuff together, so there is in some cases, I haven't actually seen the ending. It's sitting on my living room watching system right now, waiting for me to go over and watch that stuff, but because I watch it with Heather, we sit on stuff until we have time to sit down and watch it. So let's just get rolling here. I've given everybody so much time to drop in. If you want to follow along, we are using anychart.net. I like it because I can, not only has it got responsive design, so I can blow it up to fill the screen like this. It's very colorful. It's very easy to follow. You can mark stuff that you want to watch. There are other ways that I like to track stuff too, but this works very well to be able to show this off. And yeah, we're just going to kind of step through everything for spring 2020, and then when we're done with that, we'll probably take a break, and we'll do a quick preview of stuff that I noticed in the write-ups for summer 2020, talk about things that I'm hoping to watch or things that kind of caught my interest, and you will probably end up, all of you in chat, who I'm looking at right now, will probably tell me things that you are interested in, I'm sure, as the time goes along. So, let's start with Appare Ranman, which is currently got delayed about 3 in. Watch this specifically because, as you can see below the name, it says Appare Ranman, made by PA Works, and I really like PA Works stuff, and I will give a lot of the stuff they make a chance to see if it's actually, my jam or not. This has been interesting. It's about the two main characters who you can see like dead center there that I'm circling with the mouse. So that's Appare in the reddish, pinkish, purplish hair, and Kosame. The two of them end up on a weird ass steamboat thing out in the middle of the Pacific that Appare built, that he was going to use to like escape from people who were gonna like arrest him, or it doesn't matter. It just matters that the two of them make it to the US and stumble ass backwards into building their ship into a car and trying to win the Transamerica Wild Race. So I guess Steel Ball Run's involved here somehow. I don't know. We start watching it. I got 3 episodes into it. I'm like, there might be something here, but I haven't missed the fact that it's gone. So I don't know if I'll bother picking it up and watching more of it. There was a lot of good stuff this season. This was kind of interesting. It just didn't get its hooks into me in the way I think that I was kind of hoping it would. But also I felt like, well, if it's going to be a big race and whatever, and it's very much, alternate timelines, there's all sorts of great, car engineering that's gone on clearly in this time where there's still samurai. I'm like, so this is the fucking Meiji Restoration? Like, this is taking place as the 1868, but we have cars showing up that are, like, based on Art Deco designs and based on, like, styling cues from the 1950s and the 1940s, and I know a bit about cars, so it's like, but to see that, it's like, I get what you're going for. It's supposed to be fantastical. It's supposed to be alternate world, kind of, like, not alternate world, but, alternate timelines kind of thing, and I'm just like, I don't know. This should have been like Carl Benz. This should have been like the first, at least like the Model T. Like, that's what everything should be looking like, because that's what you could be building. And nothing looks like that, because it wouldn't be interesting at all to watch. I don't know how I feel about it. Argonavis from Bang Dream. Nope, didn't watch that. Sorry. Usually not my jam. Arte. Heard about this from a manga perspective, that people seem to like this. I didn't know what I was going to get with this, and I was really interested to have a chance to watch it, because I thought I'm never going to actually sit down and read it. But I'm a bit of a sucker for, here is a period piece, and it takes a woman who wants to do a job that's always been considered men's, and the struggle she has to go through, but you'll get to watch her grit and her abilities win people grudgingly over to her side, like those kind of things. And I'm kind of like, that's very, I find that interesting. I'm finding stories about women doing this, even if it's completely fictional, right, and it's not based on a true story, it's like completely fictional stuff. I find that way more interesting than reading about a young boy who strives against it. It's like, doesn't have the same hook for me. But this has been great. I'm one episode away from finishing this for the season. It's been a lot of fun. It's been very interesting. It's really interesting to see how, because I don't know how much of it is heavily historically researched, and I know manga artists can be on anywhere in terms of how much they'll do that. But this has been an interesting show. It kind of has the only problem that I find that it has is that when it gets to the end of an episode, sometimes it's just like a hard stop, and the ending starts up, and I'm kind of like, whoa, that just kind of we didn't actually have like a swell of whatever, just kind of like, we got to the end of what was going on. We're at the end of this scene now, but it's actually the end of the episode. And I'm like, oh, I kind of figured we'd have maybe another minute or two, but it's been good. I like it. I'm glad we've been watching it. And if they made another season, I'd watch more of it. I'm sure the manga goes on for a while, so it is entertaining. And Pat Bear is telling me, I was really surprised that Funimation hasn't promoted this at all on their social. I'm like, I'm surprised to hear that too. Like, this is a pretty strong, stable show. I think it would be interesting for a lot of people. And it's a drama, but it's not a melodrama, right? It's Arte's doing her best, and it is interesting. Bakugan Armored Alliance, well, that was the second season of Bakugan Battle Planet, and I didn't watch that, so I couldn't watch that. So anyway, Bungon to Alchemist Shinpan no Hagaruma. No, they've been cursed by their taints. I'm like, no, not interested in that. Oh, Cardfight Vanguard. No. Digimon Adventure. I was never into Digimon. Wrong age. Something about there's like a just happened to come right out of that. So not interested in any of the Digimons. I know that Heather and Corey were interested in the Digimon, so just been kind of like that. I know that's their thing. These might be good. I don't know. I haven't been watching them. I don't know if this is a reboot. I don't know if this is a new thing. I know they're supposed to be like a reboot, but I don't really know anything about it. Duel Masters, not interested in card games. Okay. Fruits Basket second season has been wonderful. I've really enjoyed it. it's weird because this started being like when Fruits Basket, like first season was coming out, this was the like windmill slam. Hey, what are we watching tonight? We got 5 things waiting for us. What are we watching? It's like Fruits Basket. We're watching that. It's the first thing we're going to watch. Then it became like, this is the last thing we're going to watch because we know that if everything's kind of like crap or that wasn't interesting or whatever, we know that Fruits Basket will be interesting and will be good. We have started putting Fruits Basket in the we'll watch it like first, but we definitely can't watch it last because it's so and you're like, I don't want to end my night with just like you want to end it on a happy note. There's so many emotions and so yeah, to watch it now is like we will sit and we will watch it and just get like all like, and then it's like, okay, let's watch a comedy because we need something else to watch. And it's been wonderful because I've never seen the entire Fruits Basket story. I mean, I've seen the original Fruits Basket anime, but this is, I don't remember a lot of stuff that's in this that is from the original, and my understanding is much like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, is that this also hews closer to the manga story, so I've this I wanted to watch to get a sense of what was actually going on in the manga story. And man, it's trying to guess who people, like what's everyone's motivations and it's been really like you just get into like trying to figure out why is everyone acting this way, and it's like, and haven't been able to figure it out. So it's been really good. I mean, obviously there's been more reveals recently, but yeah, moving on. I definitely would recommend Fruits Basket if you have not seen it. So Fugo Keiji, Balance Unlimited. So due to COVID-19, the broadcast will restart in the summer 2020 season on July 16th. From the very first episode, they'll just start over. So, we started watching this, and it's difficult for me because I'm, like, the idea of, here, our 2 main characters are these 2 guys here. And he's the millionaire one, or the multi-Brazilianaire dude, like whatever. He has so much money. He has a balance unlimited on his like accounts or whatever. And he wants to be a detective on the Modern Crime Prevention Task Force, which is essentially a division that like is in the basement of the police department, and it's where people who cause trouble or people who aren't useful are eventually sent. And so he wants to join the police department. Everyone's like, yes, you have all this money. And I'm like, that's okay, cool, great. And he's like, I want to work for this task force. And everyone's like, are you sure you don't want to join something, like be on the task force that's the most famous, that has all the people solving major crimes? Like, no, I want to be on this one. And no reason given why. Obviously, they'll probably be revealed later in the series. But his thing is like, when we first meet him, he's just driving his car and bumping like there's like a rare car show and shine like parade thing going on with like the Sultan of Brunei's kid or whatever driving a frickin' car, and he just smashes the car out of his way, and everyone's like so mad, and he's like, oh well, here you go, and just like he talks to his fucking Iron Man glasses and says, hey, can you just send everybody a bunch of money? And they're like, yeah, we're paying everybody back double, and it's great, here, all done, and I'm gonna buy your car from you now, and now I have your car. And it's just like, oh Christ, okay, are you gonna be sympathetic at all? And I don't know if he's gonna be sympathetic or not. There's a lot of interesting action pieces. I think that there's a lot of like the solutions when you have that much money and you want to just do whatever you want. It's like, oh well, why not? We need to break into this building so we can take down a bad guy. It's like, oh cool. Well, here's a spoiler. It's going to be like the first couple episodes, but here's a spoiler. I'll just buy the building. Then it's mine. I can do whatever I want to it and do. And that is something that you don't get in a lot of police shows, obviously. But that's the point of how a lot of these like police procedurals work, where they pair up like a good-hearted detective or whatever with somebody who is, completely new and completely outside, but it's like, but they can use their specific form of expertise, the thing that happens to be very good about them, in which case this guy's thing that's good about him is just he has a lot of money, to open up a new way of telling the story and doing something ridiculous. It's kind of like Lucifer. if you've watched that on Netflix, where it's like, oh, well, she's a good-hearted detective who's trying to do her best, though she's not really doing that great, and he's the literal goddamn devil. And that makes Lucifer really interesting to me. I didn't think that I would. Yeah, The Mentalist from the Americat is another example of that. Batman is another example of kind of like what happens when you have somebody who works outside the law but is kind of trying to be the law, or is now part of the law. Basically, any major police procedural that relies upon somebody who has fantastical powers that are not part of regular police work. This is kind of that same thing. And apparently this is based on a novel written in 1975, 1977. This plays out in the modern era, but I do think it's interesting that it's a thing you're doing at that time. So anyway, do I like it? I liked it enough to watch some of it. Will I continue to watch it? I don't know if I will. I'm a little sour on police shows at this point. So there's that. Let's move on. Gal to Kyoryu. Gal and Dino. Gyaru to Kyoryu. I was reading this, and it had like a very abrupt end to the scanlations, and my understanding was it was because the manga itself had a very brief end to the scanlations, or very brief end to publishing in Japan. It just kind of like hit the end of something and wrapped up. And then I was like, oh, there goes that. And now it's like, here's an anime, and not just an anime, something very experimental. If you liked Pop Team Epic, this has a lot of the same. It feels like it's breathing a lot of the same air. It's not that kind of crazy absurdist hitting full stop of something before the joke is there, but that's the stop. But this show is not meant to be something that you're going to come at and see 30 minutes of this of a yonkoma play out over and over and over. It's not Azumanga Daioh. That's not what it is. It is featured like the way we consume media now, which is you'll watch some parts of a show, then you might, I don't really do this, but I see people do this, where it's like you watch some parts of a show, you're in the middle of a show, and you're like, oh, and you open your Twitter and you check your Twitter, you're watching the thing, but now you're checking your Twitter and you see like a 10-second video, so you watch like a 10-second video of something, as you get to watch that, and then you go back and you're still watching the show, because now the cool things happen, so you close your thing, you come back, you're watching the show again too, you're like, I didn't have to worry about whatever. That is... Thank you, Lysander Gustav. My girlfriend is a T-Rex. That's the one that had the abrupt end that I was like, I wanted that back. But my girlfriend is a T-Rex. Gal to Kyoryu. Got them conflated. Sorry. But this is... it's just very odd because it goes from, here's a 5-minute animated whatever. And now here's a 3-minute video that's very roughly animated. Happening on a YouTube analog. And here is a brief break, like an eye catch break we're taking, where you're going to have to try to find the dinosaur in a bunch of drawings of other dinosaurs and stuff. And it's like a quick little quiz for you to do that. And all of the in between each segment is a quick little animated eye catch of its own, but the animated eye catches are half stock, and then the second half has been animated by somebody else, probably somebody working at a studio or somebody hired to do that work. And generally, only handles are given. And I'm like, are they just working with people who are in the industry or who are like connected to the industry somehow, but don't operate under like an actual working name, but they are like doujin artists or doujin animators or things like that. It's impenetrable to me because I don't know enough about the industry. But then almost always the second half of the show is live action. And in the beginning, when you watch it, the Gyaru doesn't show up at all, even though you'll see her in like the opening sequence and stuff like that too, the live action Gyaru. She doesn't show up in the first few episodes in live action, and eventually she does, but there's like a story happening there, but then it looks like the story might have wrapped itself up. But then there are other things where the live action thing has a guy like in the dino suit, like, and the dino is the dino, and you just have to kind of accept it. But they go out walking on the town, they go like touring the parks and stuff, and it's so awkward sometimes because everyone takes the guy in the giant dino mascot suit, and at face value that he's a dinosaur, but there's like a bit where he's playing with some kids in a park, and the kids are acting, but the spacing in how they're delivering their lines is a little clunky, which is not how you would, and it's spread out a bit, because you could do that in animation, because you can kind of have these weird awkward pauses sometimes. We'll get back to weird awkward pauses in a second, by the way, in another show. But it's really weird to watch this, and I think it's worth watching this show. Watch a few of them and see if you can stand it. Like, if you can handle things jumping back and forth the way it does. It's a lot of fun, and sometimes it's not a lot of fun, because it's like, well, I've seen something like this already, and I don't really like, and that's kind of how I felt with the live action bits. I'm like, oh, I thought you were doing as a goof, but it's literally every episode. Oh, but sometimes these are kind of cute. Oh, but sometimes they're just kind of, I wish I could skip this, but I don't know what's happening. And it's just kind of, it's odd. Oh yeah, and as Pat Bear points out, the live action bits will feature like Japanese comedians and celebrities that we have no context for who these people are. So you kind of have to know a bit about how talento works in the industry, and how like a Japanese comedian will have a shtick, like the classic kind of idea of like, this is my one thing I do that makes me a comedian, and it's not that I tell jokes, it's that I do this one thing and I jam it into every aspect of how I do my bits, and I'm only good for 3 or 4 minutes, but that's all I'm supposed to be doing. And then anything else I do kind of maybe grows out of that otherwise. And it's, Trigger Happy says, I honestly found it funnier having no idea about the comedians. I'm like, yeah, I didn't know what this is all, like what any of their jam is, but when I started watching them do it, I'm like, oh, you're like a lot of that stuff that I've seen before. I don't know who any of you guys are. I don't know what your bits are. I don't have a clue as to what this is supposed to be, but it got me. Like, I was like, I see what's happening here. And it's real weird, and I'm glad you're making it, and I can't wait until they bring the rest of it out, because I think they hit episode 7, and that's pretty much all they could make. So watch it. Gleipnir. I don't know. Like, the combination of tags when I saw action, ecchi, mystery, supernatural, I was like, I don't know. And then about a dude who can has an unnatural sense of smell, and it's tagged ecchi. He can transform into a incredibly powerful beast, and it's ecchi. And I'm just kind of like, I never know which one of these tags is like the leading tag. If it's like, there's a little bit of this, and there'll be a couple like sexual jokes, or if it's going to be, this is more this, and I gave it a pass. So I didn't see it. Sorry about that. All right. Hachi nante sore wa nai desho. I'm the 8th son, are you kidding me? Isekai, for no fucking reason. One of those things, you can read from the beginning. Ichi no Miya Shingo, a 25-year-old man working at a firm company. Firm company? Probably a black company, I don't know. Well, thinking of tomorrow's busy working day. Firm company. Goes to sleep. However, when he woke up, he found himself in a room unknown to him and realized he was inside a 6-year-old's body, taking over his body and mind. And that's... Heather pointed this out to me about isekais, is that whenever somebody in Japan gets isekai'd, they always end up in the body of a kid who is like already developed their own personality and their own mind and their whatever else, and just fucking takes over. Just like, I'm here now and you're gone. And it's like, there's never anything about the kid's soul is still there, or like those kind of things. And I'm like, yeah, when you put it that way, that's real weird. And I don't know if I like it. It's one thing when you get like reincarnated into like, or you like, hey, we're gonna put you down in we're just gonna take you and we're just gonna put you in the new thing. It's like, no, we're gonna put you inside the body of this kid, and then that kid's not gonna be around anymore. And it's like, what the fuck does that mean? And it's like, so anyway, but ignore all that, because it only comes up once or twice where he mentions a thing about not really getting how the world works, and I'm like, sure, fine, but we never is made clear that by the time the story really gets rolling, when he's like more of an adult, that he's in his 30s now and could be using a lot of that experience, but it's whatever. So he's the youngest child of a poor noble family. They have 8 kids, and the eldest gets the property, and he's 6 years old, and all the other guys are going off to be like, they're all going off to be knights or do something else somewhere else, and he's like, I'm effed. I got nothing to do. I'm gonna have to be a farmer or some shit, because nothing is gonna work out for me. And so he ends up discovering that he has the gift of magic, and that's incredibly rare. And so he's like, I'm gonna hide that because I don't want anyone to know. Except this magician who's wandering in the forest feels that he activated this magic thing and is like, aha, how about if I train you? And he's like, okay, cool. He's like, great, train me. Now, this, I watched the whole thing, and I liked it well enough. I don't think I can recommend it because I don't think it's great. I barely think it's good. I think it's just mediocre, and I was just trying to see how it was going to end. And there's bits of it where I'm just like, holy shit, you had somebody say something, and then you had everybody pause for about a second and a half, and then you had a camera cut to the person with the response that they would have said a second and a half. It's not like they needed time to think about what it is they were going to say. They're just reacting and saying a thing. But you literally had a person say a thing. Yes, I agree. I'll respond to the thing. And I'm like, oh, wow. And it wasn't even dramatic. It was just, I'm in the middle of a fucking conversation. And it's very frustrating when you see that happening, because it's like, I feel like you're doing this because you know if you can add a few milliseconds here and a half a second here, that you can pad out what's happening in the story. And it feels really awkward sometimes. The CG's kind of very obvious. And I'm like, whatever, that's sometimes how you have to do things in TV anime. Yeah, it's... If you like isekais, you might like this, but I don't know. Also, the hot lady up there with the large breasts is 13. So let's move on. Hakushon Daimao 2020. Didn't watch this. Sounded like an interesting idea, that it's like 50 years after 1969 anime, and I'm like, oh, that could be kind of... But didn't see it pop up anywhere, wasn't that interested in watching it in the first place, so... Alright. Yes. Honzuki no Gakokujo. Shisho ni naru tame ni wa shudan wo... Let's try it. Erande iraremasen. Ooh, I got it that time, I think. This is the second half. The manga itself, I believe this is light novels, but the manga that's based on is split into 3 arcs. And this is Ascendance of a Bookworm. A lot of us have talked about this before. This is very cute. This is very interesting. It has the same issue of a woman dies in Japan. She's 25 years old and she's a librarian, and she keeps to herself, and she ends up in the body of Mine, who's 5 years old and is dying of a mysterious disease. And when she realizes that she's in this body, and then realizes, oh my goodness, okay, it's later addressed that this was a thing of like souls. One soul is leaving and one soul was able to inhabit, if that is less bothersome to you, because it was less bothersome to me that it's like, Mine died, and this woman happened to be pushed into that body at that time. So that's why that is the way that it is. This is a very interesting show, and Pat Bear says it's a great show to marathon. I agree, Pat, because if you have a few of them saved up, it's really nice to watch a 2 or 3 episode bit kind of come to fruition. You can see like a problem is introduced, a way of thinking through the problem is introduced, but it's harder to kind of figure it out. But now we have resolved this problem, but now we know that something new is coming as well. And this is just a story of a young girl who is actually a 20-year-old, 25-year-old bookworm who really just wants books, and it's watching how she tries to do things so that she can have a book or make a book. But they're going to need things like paper, and they're going to need things like ways to make paper, and they're going to need things like, like people need to be literate. Like there's all these kind of things that are dependent upon just, I want to be able to have this one thing. She's going to need money to do that. She's all these kind of things. And it's Thundershot puts it, season 1 of this is like Dr. Stone, but a slice of life. And it's like, it kind of is. It's a much lower stakes. There's not a lot of like everything is life or death. It's just a lot of, there is the life and death aspect of what Mine is going through, because she is sick with something that is killing her. And she's trying to find out ways to address it. And in the second half, we have moved into Mine has joined the church as an assistant blue priestess, or an apprentice priestess, but she's a commoner, and you can only become a blue priestess wearing the blue robes if you are noble, but because she was able to negotiate a way for her to have those robes, it gives her a lot of protection. And so now we start to navigate what it's like to grow up, what it's like to move into a world where you don't know how to act, to try to figure out how to act as nobility, and it gives us a greater sense of what the nobility in this world is like and what commoners are like, and a lot of the things that come out of that. And I'm finding it more and more fascinating, more and more interesting. There's a lot of great moments where you're like, there's an evil person, and the evil person's doing something mean to mine, and he got his comeuppance, yes, excellent. There's those kind of things. So this is pulpy as shit. This would be an airport novel. Like, this is the kind of thing where you read it, it's like it's meant to do that to you. It's meant to just keep yanking on your heartstrings over and over to be like, get them back. Yes, you got them back. So I find it very satisfying for that reason. I don't think this is high art. I think this is high entertainment. This is top notch. I think they're doing an excellent job. Let's move on. Hokago Teibo Nishi, by our friends at Dogakobo, who also did Nozaki-kun, and other things. I like this. This is Diary of Our Days at the Embankment, at the seaside. There's a translation for this. Only a few episodes came out, got derailed due to COVID-19. Don't know what's happening, if it's coming back in July or not yet. This is just kind of a very soft, interesting series, because it's just about, hey, come join the Embankment Club. We stand on the edge of an embankment at a breakwater. Dire as it is at the breakwater, that's what it is. We stand at a breakwater, and we catch fish. And every time we're going to catch fish, it's always going to be like a new kind of fish. And we're going to talk about what that means. And if you're playing Animal Crossing, you probably spend a lot of time fishing. So, hey, this is the kind of, like, we're going to see the kind of fish that they included that I'd never heard of before, but that's because they're, like, Pacific Rim fish from like the Japanese coasts, and not like the kind of fish that we see in Canada more often than not. So, do I like it? I like it well enough. Do I think it's like, hey, best of the season? No, but I think it's all right. Let's see here. Again, not enough of this to watch to really pass a lot of judgment on it, I think, is the issue. I will probably end up watching more of it if it comes back, because it is kind of a restful thing to watch. All right. Idolish 7 Second Beat. Nope. I couldn't even imagine trying to draw all those costumes, so most of that's probably CG. Anyway. I mean, now we're getting into competition for best of the season, though. So, Kaguya-sama wa kokurasetai, Tensai Tachi no Rennai Zuno-sen. Kaguya wants to be confessed to. Genius's Battle of Love and War. I believe it's just kind of known as Kaguya-sama. This is the second season, and if you haven't watched the first season, you should go do it, because it's a great comedy. If you want to read the manga, based on the scanlations, it's so good. It's so good. It's into the hundreds of chapters by now, but it's so good. And Heather and I have been watching this. This is definitely like, new Kaguya-sama? Well, we got to watch it tonight. And we're probably going to watch this as the last thing, because we know no matter what, it's going to be good and it's going to be funny. And it's just great watching these two here, Shirogane senpai, and who's the president of the student council, and Kaguya, who is the vice president of the student council, and watching the two of them try to outwit each other, and then eventually, through whatever reasons, it becomes such a naturalized thing of them trying to outwit each other that they're not even really trying to outwit each other anymore. It's one of those things where it's like, the author's probably like, this makes a better setup if it's not the two of them trying to like get one over on each other and try to get one of them to confess. It's just great if we put them in the situation and watch them struggle with having to deal with the fact that they like the other one, but they refuse to admit it, because that's the one thing they refuse to let themselves do, even though that in a way it is making them more miserable. And all the extra characters that get added into the mix, make it even more fun. There's way more story, obviously, in the manga, and I really, really you should read the manga. And plus, there is a same universe series called We Want to Talk About Kaguya, and it is being scanlated. It's a little rougher in design, and it's all yonkoma, and it's about the two girls who work for the newspaper department, essentially, at the high school. One of them is in love with the idea of Shirogane and Shinomiya, right? Kaguya, and anyway, about the two of them getting together, and is like, oh, the president will be so, he'll be so good at this kind of thing, and the other girl is all about protecting Kaguya-sama's love. That it's like her love is so important and pure, and yes, I want her to be in love with the president, but I kind of don't, because I want her to protect her love that she doesn't get, and so they're not at like opposite. They're not opposite tacks. They just both want different things. I'm pretty sure it's a spin-off that's written by the same person, even if it's not drawn by them. I haven't actually checked the thing, but there's like 87 chapters of it, and I think it's an online only thing. But if you're checking manga decks, go check. We Want to Talk About Kaguya. See if it's the same person. I'm actually not sure, but yeah, it's the second season has been great. I am looking forward to them continuing this. God help me, I hope they continue it. I have not looked to see if they will, but this is the kind of story that it's like, I think we could get another like 2 12-episode seasons out of, and it will probably reach its necessary conclusion. Okay, definitely watch that. Kakushigoto. I was reading this. Then somehow it fell off of my list of things I was reading, and I ended up just missing that, and so I've gone back to try to catch up on it, and then realized that there's obviously a lot to catch up on, but the anime had to get through basically the whole series in 12 episodes, and they have done that, I think, quite well, and I feel like this is a thing that's filling it in. Like if you read the manga, it will fill in little bits and holes there with a lot more funny moments, but I think they really captured the quality of the story here, and I'm not going to tell you how it ends. There's a lot of hints in the opening and the closing sequences, and plus one of the great, the mangaka even says, thank you Trigger Happy, the mangaka even says, don't read the manga, watch the anime, that's going to be way easier. But one of the great things about the anime is that you're going to see a time skip. There's always a bit of stuff happening in a time skip at the end of the episode, and what's so great about it is not only that you get that, but you know when it's happening, because the animation changes, like the color palettes change. Everything's way brighter. It's way more saturated. It's harder to look at, and it's not as goofy, because this is a goofy ass. This is a gag manga, which suits it great, because I believe the author is the author's own name in real life. They were going by Goto Kakushi, and or at least it's what it's made out to be in the manga, that there's the mangaka is actually making a semi-autobiographical story, but I'm like, but are they? I don't know how much of this is layers upon layers. But yeah, it's about single father, Kakushi Goto. He has a secret. And Kakushi Goto essentially means hidden drawings? Hidden things. There's multiple meanings for Kakushi Goto. Anyway, he's a single father. He writes a dirty joke manga. They say erotic manga. It's not an erotic manga. It's a dirty joke gag manga. So it's kind of like it's not even sexually exciting from the sounds of it. It's just a lot of jokes about dicks and stuff like that. He has a daughter, and he wants to keep this from her, because he's like, if she finds out, this will be embarrassing for her. She'll be teased at school, like all these kind of things. So he has a whole system set up where they leave the house at the same time in the morning, so that she walks to school, he goes the other direction to go to the office, and he's dressed like this. And when he gets halfway to the office, he stops in at a guy's place, at a clothing store, who he knows the manager there, and he takes his whole suit off and hangs it up, and he puts on like a t-shirt and shorts, and he has like a donut cushion, because it's easier on your butt. And he goes to his office, and all these people in the background are all part of people who work at his production studio. They're his assistants or his editor. And so he's trying to keep all of that life separate from her. And of course, the comedy comes in the fact that it doesn't always work so well. And ridiculous situations arise as a result. But what also is really clever about it, what I relate to about it in terms of like the writing, but also in terms of like what's good what works in the anime as well, is that there will be like a theme decided for something that's going on like for that episode, and the theme for what Goto is going through, something that's affecting him, that same topic or subject is also related to something that Hime is doing at the same time. And that the two of them try to communicate, but both of them have had now different experiences, and they're trying to talk at each other, but sometimes they talk past each other, and a lot of confusion and funniness results because the two of them are trying to understand each other. They think they understand each other, they don't, and yeah, it's really it's really quite good. Pat points out as well in the chat, it's not chill because the time skips are emotional. The rest of the show is more lighthearted. So prep yourself for that. That's why this is comedy drama. It does a good job of trying to split those two things, that when the comedic stuff is happening, enjoy it. You're going to get to enjoy it, having a good laugh. When the dramatic stuff is happening, it is hard to understand what's happening because, again, the story is also not given to you in every little time skip. It's pieced out. You're watching it to find out what's actually going on. Moving on, Tower of God, which, if I understand it correctly, is based on a Korean manhwa, and I've heard it was good. I think Serge had read this. He either read the novel or he read the manhwa. And he told me it was really good, but everything he told me about what it was, I was like, I bet it's good. It doesn't seem like something I want to watch. I am soured on stories of a protagonist that has to fight their way through levels like a video game, and in order to achieve some sort of goal, and the sword and sorcery aspect, and like all those kind of things. I'm just like, I don't know if that's my jam, but I have heard it's really good. So I hope if you've been watching it, please enjoy it, because if it's been a great adaptation and people in here are saying that they've really enjoyed it, it's very true to the manhwa, says New Meta Nerd. So yeah, if Shonen's your jam, get on that, because I think a lot of people probably would tell you to watch this at that point. And as you can see, it's getting close to being the end of the season for it. Kingdom, I never watched Kingdom to begin with, so I'm not watching Kingdom. Kirato Prichan, wasn't watching any of that. Okay. I like a good mystery, and from all the boys, this has gotta be yaoi fuel, is what it is. Even though I know it's based on the mystery novel and like all these other kind of things, but I'm like, there's something about the fact that all the main characters here are all young, good-looking men, and they're all dressed in different outfits because it's taking place around it's in 1909, right? So it's the Meiji Restoration has already happened. We're seeing a lot of Western clothing and customs and stuff start to make their way in to Japan. So that explains why we're seeing people like Japanese people in suits and Japanese people in hakama still, like all that kind of stuff. And there's just something about this. I was just like, we watched a lot of it. I don't even, have we seen the last episode? Okay, so there's more coming. This just kind of I felt bad about it, because it feels glib about people dying. and especially like a lot of women die in this. Women who are like involved in trades, like as they either work in brothels or they in other situations. A lot of women die in this show. Not a lot of men die in this show. And it's not like I'm looking for that kind of parity, but it felt really like, wow, you're being very... this is about people who are poets and writers, and they're fictional versions of people who are real-life poets, real-life writers. In this case, Kyosuke Kindaichi was a real-life linguist. They were acquaintances, those two were acquaintances as well. And so it's like, oh, so what if we give Ishikawa, who's the gray-haired jackass right here, what if he's also just a shitty person. What if he can be like, hey, I'm gonna run a private detective agency. It's like to support his family, which is horseshit. It's like, if that's true, we're not given any indication of that throughout the entire show. There's nothing noble about anything that Ishikawa does, I think, ever. And I'm just like, boy, did you really drop the ball on trying to make this something. And it's like, it's an adaptation of a mystery novel. So maybe this novel was really good. Maybe it was interesting in some way. Maybe it did something linguistically that's very interesting. Maybe when it was published, whenever it was published, it was doing or talking or saying things that were interesting to people at the time. I just don't know why in 2020 you would have said, hey, I should take this and adapt this and make it into a product, because I don't know what anything valuable about what I've watched over the last 11 episodes or so. I'm like, or the 10 episodes or however many we've been into right now. I'm like, I don't know about how any of this is relatable. It's a lot of it is just stuff we've seen before. And it left me very cold. And that's hard now, because I also want to take the position of, if you've liked this, I'm glad. If you are making your own OTPs, go right ahead. And it feels disingenuous of me to say I support the fact that you like a thing like this, when I'm sitting here saying I can't see what it's doing that was a necessity to make people work on this and bring this to the air. And so that makes me hypocritical. So I am sorry about that. If you have enjoyed it, I'm glad that you found a thing that you enjoyed, and I'm hope I'm not making you feel bad about your choices. I don't recommend this. There are a lot of good things this season that came out. I think this was just kind of mediocre. Hey, speaking of mediocre, I watched all of this, by the way. It says 12 episodes. They put a 13th epilogue episode at the very end of the 12th episode, which I was like, oh, there's a lovely cheat that you were like, oh, well, we ran out of time, so we're just going to call this the 13th episode and it's an epilogue or whatever. I thought this would be maybe fun or interesting. And I mean, look at this, right? Mecha, music, adventure. You know, there's still sci-fi. It's post-apocalyptic future. There's these shadow creatures called the Earless. And I'm like, this is breaking this was every rule that I've told you about when it comes to shows, that if I watch something that when you start talking about it in Japanese, that you have to start using more than 3 terms in English with capital fucking letters, that this is probably not going to be good, right? This is going to be something, but maybe it won't be good, or maybe or it won't have anything fresh to say, right? And damn it, I watched this because I was like, well, maybe we'll see what it's like. Maybe it'll be interesting. I mean, it's about mecha known as equipment, but there's no mecha in here. You know, and there's clearly like an amp, and there's like a plug, and I watch it, and I'm just like, okay, so what's gonna happen? I watch it, and I'm like, oh, I see, these amps turn into equipment. They are the equipment. They turn themselves into equipment. I'm like, this is the kind of thing, and everything that's all the music equipment in the series is all sponsored. So Marshall shows up, and Vox shows up, and like, and all that kind of stuff. It was about the point when Prince showed up. They don't call him Prince, but he is like the leader of Paisley Park, which is a giant floating city. And I mean, just go look at art of the show. And it's like, but watching that, I was just like, really? Is that? This is how. This is how you treat this. Is you're like, and I'm like, this is one of those things like. Shiori Experience, if you've read that manga, that's been a really weird read for me, because it's like, oh, so in Shiori Experience, the ghost of Jimi Hendrix shows up and possesses a young woman who's a teacher, a high school teacher, and is like, hey, we have to. You want to become, if you're going to be famous, if you want to be known for being a musician or whatever, you have until you're 27, and because at that point then. You'll just die, or you have to be a legend, so you can die at 27, or whatever the 27 Club was, because that was Jimi Hendrix and Kurt Cobain and Janis Joplin and like all those people who were amazing musicians, but all ended up dying in early ages. That's a thing. Look up the 27 Club. But anyway, I was like, Sheer Experience is kind of that interesting kind of thing, because the ghost of Kurt Cobain shows up in somebody in that manga as well. I'm like, you're making a real reach here to be like, I'm going to write a Japanese manga. I'm going to take all these really well-known rock musicians who are from North America and pull them in, and then I have to make characters out of them and represent them in some way. And I'm just like, I hope that you can do that, because you're repurposing a real person, and you're repurposing them as a character. You're giving them a whole bunch of, it's just like, oh Christ, I have no idea how you're going to pull that off. But listeners, putting Prince in there, I was like, I don't really listen to Prince's music. I was never like a fan or anything like that, but I recognize what he did for music and his ability and his musicianship and his just stratospheric level of skill. I recognize that, and so it felt very jarring to me, someone who's not actually even a Prince fan, to see Prince show up in this show, but not be Prince, be someone called Denka. And I was just like, this is so weird that this is happening, and I kind of don't know if you've earned the right to do this kind of thing. And it takes place in like an alternate universe England, and I kept watching it because I was like, I get to the end of the episode and I'd be like, okay, so I kind of saw a thing and what was going on, I kind of get it, and then like I'm like, so I don't, and the episode would be over and I'm like, oh well, okay, but maybe that'll be the last one I watch, and then another episode would show up and I'm like, I don't want to watch this, I should just drop this. I'm like, yeah, but I got nothing else to watch today and I kind of feel like watching something, so okay, we'll watch it. And so then I did, and I watched it and be like, oh, that was pretty good. Oh, but I don't know if it was that good and it's good enough I want to watch. I should probably just drop this. And then another episode shows up and I'm like, oh, I don't really want to watch this, I should probably drop this. So I was like, oh, but I got nothing else to watch. So, and that's what happened with listeners. That was every episode. Like Brownie Points is saying, it's a solid 6.5 out of 10, and I'm like, I don't even know about that. Like I 5 or 6. Like it was like mecha battles and stuff that didn't make any goddamn sense, and I'm just like, I don't recommend it. Like if you want to watch it, that's cool. I was just still trying to be like, I don't even know what this adventure story was trying to say about stuff, because at the end it just seemed really trite. Also, that was the other problem. I'm like, you didn't do anything new or interesting to me, because I'm 40 years old and I guess I've seen a lot, and this was more about take the tropes that you already get out of these kind of series, out of a mecha series, an action series, and just build it, but make it about music this time. So the mangaka can like buy a whole bunch of fucking amps and stuff on there, and guitars and whatever, I'm sure, on the company's like their expense accounts, to be like, I need to research this shit. That's what it really feels like to me. Ultimately, it just feels like a really crass way of making this happen. I'm just like, oh, whatever. So, I mean, I did burn 24 minutes a day, watching it when it came up. So I guess that's something. That was good for that. So, all right. So it's 7-11. We're gonna move on to not this, because I didn't watch Major, but we'll keep moving on. But I am gonna take a break, because every hour on the hour we got ad breaks we do, and I want you to please take some time, because I need to get more to drink as well. You got 3 minutes of commercials coming up, so please sit tight. We will see you in a few minutes. Welcome back. Back in the booth. I keep forgetting to turn the noise canceling on and off when I take my headphones off. So when I put the headphones back on, there's all of a sudden a big because they realize that there's something to actually cancel. It's real weird. You're joining me, Beej, here on the Loading Ready Run Network. We're already partway through the 2020 spring season for anime, and I'm doing my roundup right now. Thank you, everybody, for showing up and hanging out. Jesus Christ, there's a lot of you. I just actually went to look at our dashboard, and I'm like, there's like 100 people here. Whew, okay, yeah, no, that's cool. Thanks for sticking around. Let us real quick do some more notifications, because kind of catching you guys as I go through here is great. So eBlock, to counter Maricat's Anime Was Not Mistake sub, eBlock has now given a sub to Anime Was a Mistake. Everest Magnus, thank you for that, eBlock. Everest Magnus cheered with 300 bits. So I give you guys money, and then money goes to good causes. Deal. That's right. If you're giving 300 bits or more, or giving out a gift sub, or doing your own renewal of a sub, there is Twitch is doing donations. I believe it's in increments of 10 cents to the Trevor Project and the National Black Justice Coalition. I believe are both U.S.-based charities. You can look them up if you want, and you should, in fact. And so, yeah, when you do those things, that's great, because it is going to raise money up to $300,000, I believe, is what they're going for, and I'm sure they're kind of crushing it so far. Let's keep rolling here. Blue Mage 76 back for 45 months. Welcome back. Excuse me. Oh, that drink I had. Welcome back, Blue Mage. Sorry about the read there. Nambra gave 1,000 bits. I had some bits, though the bits are free. Thank you, Nambra. Jay Blank cheered with 300 bits. I'm here for all the Nissan Cup Ramen and King of the Hill news. Excellent. Also, for people who have been doing these things, it's been unlocking emotes and rewards for people in chat, which is fantastic. So that's really cool. This is continuing to happen. Commander Rab with 62 months. Hi, Beej. Hi, Rab. Captain Wolf for 18 months. That's almost 2 years. Mark Barks for 30 months. Welcome back. Commander Pulsar for 16 months. That's perfect square. Tiny Suze 2342 just subscribed. Welcome to the channel, Tiny Suze. I hope you enjoy it here. We don't do this all the time. The anime roundup is when there is season ends. So you'll be seeing me do this maybe like once every 3 months. Psychic Ketchup comes back for the 76th month. So many months. Have a nice day. You too, Ketchup. Eric Christian Berg back for 29 months. Welcome back, Eric. And Nimrix gave 25 subs to the following... Or 25 subs, what am I saying? They gifted 5 subs in this channel. It's to these people. Random Trivia, Timur Tami, Barry Gone Wild, Sakura the Neko, and Meaty Ochre. Welcome to the channel, you 5, and thank you, Nimrix. Red Shoes Jeff with 300 bits. Thank you, Red Shoes Jeff. Jdog 2K4 for 2 months. You came back, Jdog. Thank you so much. Money to charity, you've sold me. I'm so glad. They call me K for 21 months. Welcome back. And Cardboard Horde has been here for 26 months. Welcome back to you as well. I'll change back to the chat so we can see this. Kyodar asks, how do you know when a season is over? They run in 3-month increments. So technically, the end of June is the rough ending of a season. It's not necessarily always that case. Sometimes, like, a season of a show might end a week before the actual end of the, where it's supposed to come in. But winter is January, February, March. Spring is April, May, June. Summer is July, August, September. And fall is October, November, December, which I find really weird because that's not how seasons work in Canada, even though it makes perfect sense to do that. Seasons in Canada, more often than not, tend to be like winter would be like December, January, February. Or maybe November, December, January, that kind of thing. But February is never usually spring, so it's safer to say spring is like March, April, May. Summer is really June, July, August, and then fall is when we see school start again. So fall is like September, October, November, and that's when you would see the fall season. But they go October, November, December because, that's how that works. Oh, you're welcome, Kyodar. All right, let's get back to the. Yeah, and Scar Red Tiger says it's what the season is. It's when the kur. Whenever you see a kur, and kur is like the 3 month period when you'll. But a kur is not a 3 month period. The kur is a reference to the set of episodes that would run in a particular time. And kur is a French word that is a loan word to the Japanese, because I'm sure that in creating animated whatever, they take a lot of cues from not just North America. They're going to take a lot of cues from Europe as well, because Europe has a lot of animation, has an amazing animation industry. I know it freaks people out when I touch my face. I shaved, but there's like a hair that I don't think I caught, and it's been tickling me, so I'm sorry about that. Let's get right back to what we were doing. So, oh yeah, like Pat says, sometimes an anime is 10 episodes. It's super weird when that happens, because you're like, that means there's 3 weeks that you have just nothing running. What do you put in that space? The ones that got, it always used to be that like stuff was almost always 13 episodes long, and then throughout the late 90s and into the 2000s, we started to see more and more 12 episode stuff happens, and then you saw an 11 show up and you're like, well, what happened there? But then you'll see like 10 and it's like, what's that have to do? Like, why did you only make 10? What did you run out of money? Was the original impression to make 10 and it's like it's going to go in this slot and we're going to run other things versus it? Like, I like the English method of how you run a series instead of like a season. Right? Like, I always think of a series as being a whole thing. Like Major Second here, right? Major Second is a series. It has seasons within it, but a season can consist of multiple cour, because that's how many episodes are produced in that's meant to be running in a certain block, and like it gets complicated because you keep drilling down. Lacking Sandy says, wouldn't a cour just translate to a run? I'm like, I don't know. I don't remember. I took 9 years of French and I don't remember what the whole thing is. So, but yeah, that's something that, for example, in Loading Ready Run, when we talk about shows that we make, there's been a transition. You've probably noticed it, of moving past evergreen shows or an eternal playlist, and moving to a seasonal playlist, because it means that it actually gives us freedom to be like, we can film this part of a season, or we can film these segments of a season, and we can say that something like the panelists, we can film that over a multi-day period and have a season of content, and then produce that content and then put that out, and then we don't have to keep tying back later things to season 2. You know, we can say the next time we do that, that can be season 3. Corpline is the same way. A chunk of content we can create. I know that people miss these things that I'm mentioning. If we haven't announced that we've canceled something, we haven't canceled it. So, you know, it's just the position that we're in right now is complicated. You get that. We're going to get back to anime here in a second, I promise. And with Corpline, to be able to produce something as a season, I think, is really valuable, because it means that we can approach that show as bite-sized chunks and not have to feel like we're on a treadmill of having to constantly make it. And it's been a very hard pivot, and we can't do that with everything we make, obviously. But yeah. I mean, people are posting that... people are posting the Friday Nights question, and depends. I haven't been to that page in a while. So, what can I say? Pardon me for the drink. Mucal Dreaming. What the fuck is this? I didn't watch it. Sorry. Didn't watch it. Moho Shoujo, though. JC Staff. That maybe it was good. I don't know. Might have been a really heavy kids show. I mean, it is middle schoolers as opposed to high schoolers, but anyway. Motto majime ni funajima kaiketsu zorori. Something to do with kaiketsu. I don't know what the hell that is. Didn't watch it anyway, so I'll just keep rolling. Okay, so Nami o kite kure. Give me a show that happens in a place where most people don't think of when they think of Japan. Give me a show that happens in Shikoku. Give me a show that happens in Kyushu. Give me a show that happens in Hokkaido. Please give me a show that happens in Hokkaido. Give me a show that happens in Tohoku, which is the northern piece of Honshu, even, right? Like, we get stuff from Tokyo all the time. We'll have stuff happening in Osaka and Kyoto all the time. But give me places that we don't go often. And it's so interesting. And write the people like they belong there. And it's so good when that happens. And this is about people from Hokkaido living in Hokkaido, because you can hear how when they talk about their town and the place they live and the places around Hokkaido, that they love living there and they are from there. And that's not what this show is about, but man, is that baked into this show. And Nami yo kite kure, wave, listen to me. Other than having a banger of an opening and an absolute just the ending just is so good. Both of those songs are just so good. The show itself is wonderful, and I hope it landed for you guys as well. But man, so it's Koda Minare. You should watch this. You should watch the first episode, and you won't know what's going on. But you have to watch the first episode of this, and then you have to watch the next two after that. And I'm gonna get pushy about this, but this surprised me and I think it surprised me so much because I was looking at it like, oh, we got a raid from Matt's chat. Hey, chat. Nice to see you. Thank you, Matt, for stopping by. We're doing the Anime 2020 Roundup, so yeah, and I'm just kind of in the middle of losing my shit over this series. Maybe this is even a Sunrise thing too, that it's like Sunrise. I kind of always feel like, what's something that they make? They make they can make shows that appeal to grown up people, and maybe that's why I love this so much, is because it appeals to grown up people. Oh, I got to roll. I'm on the wrong side. There, way better. Now you can see the title. Thank you for telling me that, Julie Mon. Scar Red Tiger says they were seeing a Reddit post that the lead in this show, the woman who plays Minare, was once told she couldn't work in the industry because she doesn't have an anime voice. And what's great about this series is they talk about the fact that the guy over here, is it Koga? I can't remember his name. Muto. Christ, I can't remember his name. He said, you can do radio. Because not only are you, this is the character, right? You can do radio because you can be the kind of person who gets on the radio, you can talk nonstop, you don't stumble over your own words. Like, I've been doing that this entire time here. I'm not a professional in any way, shape, or form, but I watch this and I can recognize how I need to get better as a professional doing the work that I'm doing here just to be able to do this. But it was so exciting, and I think what I loved about it was the feel of you're somebody in, like, she's somebody in a job, and she's transitioning into being somebody who is a media personality, and her show is, like, different. It's not what you expect, and it's coming from somebody who you wouldn't expect to hear on the radio, and the idea, I guess maybe that is a personal thing where it's like, I love the idea that as somebody who had a normal job and liked to do entertaining things on the side, then was able to transition into a job where I could be doing this kind of thing for a living. I mean, I also, as a business manager, you don't see me as much in front of the camera anymore because I got to keep my time open. But it's so fun to watch that, and it's so fun to kind of have that, feel that kind of realization that's like, this is that kind of thing. I would love to do what she's doing, where you have that opportunity to do that kind of thing. And I also recognize I don't have that kind of talent or ability, the kind of thing that lets her get her foot in the door immediately for that reason. And there's other things going on in this show that are interesting and good to watch too, and it's the complication of living an adult life. And the show is still really funny and really human, and you get to watch her have so many flaws, and some of them matter and some of them don't, but it's okay because the series about her own personal growth and how she refuses to personally grow. And it's about having a show on the radio, and that's kind of a fun thing, and maybe not everybody's dreamed about doing that kind of thing, but being kind of a, low-level celebrity in that way is interesting to me. And just, I don't know, watching adult people do adult things has meant more and more to me as time has gone on. And maybe perhaps if I was doing radio for a living, I'd have a more professional outlook. I'd have a more professional stance. But then again, maybe this is also what people tune in for, right? Is just a dude sitting in his house who's trying to be as honest as he can about the way he feels about stuff. It's not like you need cishet white guy telling you here how to feel about shit, but I'm glad that you like what I have to say, so I do appreciate it. All right, this is a definite must-watch, and it might not be everybody's thing, but I think it's a definite must-watch. One of the finest things to come out of this season, a huge surprise for me, and I'm so glad it was as good as it was. All right. It doesn't even have the whole title. Otomege no Hametsu frag shikanai akuyaku reijo ni tensei shite shimatta. Called Bakarina because it's about Katarina Claes. Bakarina, it's kind of little. Anyway, Hamefura is what you'll see it referred to as more often. It's probably even the tag. Hamefura is you'll see the tag up there. So you'll see that more often referred to that. Hametsu furagu, Hamefura. That's where that's coming from. This is about a girl who, you can read the thing. It's about Katarina Claes gets hit in the head with a rock. When she wakes up, she remembers that she had a past life. And her past life was somebody who was who played the game, the Otome game that this entire universe is actually set in. And she wakes up, realizes I'm from this other world, but I'm also Katarina Claes. I know that. There's kind of been a melding of the two things there. But, shit, I'm the villain. Oh no. And she doesn't really quite, like, she's trying to figure this shit out. And as she writes a journal to try to figure out how to get out of it. And it's a blast. It's really funny. It's romantic. I'm reading a lot of these kind of like, I'm the villainous. I realize I'm the villainous, and now I need to try to fix my shit. This one, as a manga, has been really good. It comes from a light novel, obviously. The manga's been great. The anime is different than the manga in some respects. I don't know how it's. I guess we watched the ending as it is, but it continues on. I think there's more after this. But it's been really. It's been really funny. It's been interesting. And I definitely think it's worth watching. It's one of the finer things I watched through the whole... Oh, Season 2 got announced. Excellent. Because there is more. Also, there is a spin-off manga of this. Same plot line. Except Katarina does not realize that she's like, she doesn't get reborn. The whole reborn thing happens when she slips and she hits her head or whatever like that. Except now she's 2 months before her downfall, before the confrontation event that'll actually. So she's been in this show. She's like an 8-year-old and realizes what's happened, and she's like, I got to change everything. I got to try to make things different. I got to try not to be a bully or whatever. I got to try to get through this because it's all self-interest, right? I have to do a thing so that when I eventually get exiled, that I don't actually, do whatever. But the spin-off of this is it's 2 months before that event happens, and that's when she gets all these memories back, and she's like, oh shit, what do I do now? And she's trying to like repent for all the stuff that she's done, and she doesn't have any of the skills that she needs to try to like save herself. And it's a very, very different. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's really neat to see the two different takes on the same thing. But yeah, it's I think it's worth watching. It was great. Heather and I both really enjoyed watching it. I definitely say if you want to watch a fun, isekai-ish thing, but it's not isekai, it's being reborn in the game, but it is isekai, whatever, watch Hame Fuda. It was a lot of fun, and there'll be more. Princess Connect Redive. Okay, I just saw this and passed, based on an anime RPG smartphone game by Cygames, and I was just like, more often than not, that stuff's gonna leave me cold. So I passed on it. If this was good, great. Holiday Dark apparently watched it, and said it was cute and fun. That's fantastic. And now telling me to watch it. It's a more wholesome Konosuba, is it, Maricat? All right, I will. I'll think about it. I will. I will think about it. And now I'm also seeing like Karen saying, "This anime is way better than that sentence would lead you to believe." I will think about it because it is Cygames Pictures, and they were involved with Uma Musume, which was itself based on a stupid premise for a video game, and that ended up being a lot of fun and like an interesting show to watch, even though it's like, so I will think about this. Oh, you'll know if you like by the end of episode 2. Jigokuro says, all right, well, I will think about it. Shacho, Battle no Jikan Desk. So, Shacho, president. It's battle time. Minato has become the new president of the Kibo company, or become a good president, help the company grow. He must lead his party of adventures through the gate and collect Kirakuri, a type of energy that is extremely valuable and fundamental to the city of Gatepia. Are there other companies vying for the chance to gather the Kirakuri? I don't know, just didn't... Something about that premise didn't really grab me. Pat saying this is surprisingly fun. All right. There can't be this many good things all at once. There really can't. Like, that's starting to worry me, actually, if there's been that many good, fun series. But, all right. I mean, I am reading the manga, saving 80,000 gold coins for my retirement, and that's definitely, like, very isekai and very, like, mercenary. But, anyway. I will consider this then, too. We'll see. Shadowverse. The picture itself was what kind of just made me feel like this is not going to be for me. I mean, even seeing the thing, while attending Tensei Academy, I'm like, doesn't Tensei mean genius? Okay. Hiro, his name's literally Hiro, Ryugasaki ends up acquiring a mysterious smartphone, stole the popular card game. Oh, yes. All right, so Shin Sakura Taisen, the animation. Never watched Sakura Wars to begin with. Wasn't really drawn to it. I know people like played like the Sega Saturn games or whatever, had seen like the OVA. I just was like, that was never my thing, so I never watched it, and so didn't watch this. So Shironeko Project, White Cat Project, Zero Chronicle. Right, ancient legend revolving around two figures: the White Man in the Sky, represented by the White Cat, and the Black Prince of Darkness, represented by the Black Cat. It's a war between demons and guardians of light. Demons led by the Black King, attacking lands in the sky. This. I don't know. I just kind of was not interested in the idea of another fantasy thing. And I mean, it was based on a video game, and and I just kind of like, okay, well. Anyway, that's a prequel to a video game, which is kind of interesting, but it's not great. Okay, thank you, Pat. As everybody knows, I am not interested in Shokugeki no Soma, so I did not watch the 5th season. Tamayomi, I did watch this. Because I got a lot of... This is going to be a weird thing to say. I got a lot of Moshidora vibes off of this. If you remember that at all, which is about the... and I went looking up the Moshidora the other day. About the girl who becomes the... I think she's a high school student. She becomes the... manager of her baseball team, and she goes to the store, like bookstore, to try to buy a book to teach her how to be a good baseball manager. But she buys a book by Peter Drucker, the management techniques book, and she realizes it has nothing to do with being a baseball manager. But then she's like, well, maybe this can come in handy, and ends up like this is a very popular manga which became a very popular like anime thing that people watched for like the time it was on. And that was fun. And for whatever reason, I got a lot of vibes from this. This was fun. They went off model a lot when they were animating it. And I mean, COVID's going to do that. You're going to lose a lot of people who can animate. It's interesting. A bunch of girls in high school trying to revitalize a baseball team, but really the centerpiece is Yomi right there. She's their pitcher. She's a first year. She comes into Shin Koshigaya High School. They don't have a baseball club anymore because it fell apart due to scandal. But she meets her long lost childhood friend Tamaki Yamazaki, which I believe is her right down there. Yes, I think so. Anyway, they used to pitch and catch, and so they ended up, when they were like kids before they went to middle school, Tamaki she was a catcher on her baseball team and could kind of catch everything, but it wasn't a very like she didn't have like the most interesting time, I guess, doing it. Yomi had figured out a pitch as a pitcher at her middle school, and that her catcher said, "You can't throw that because I can't catch it." And it's a breaking ball that essentially she takes aim at the batter's head and throws it, and it looks like it's coming right at their head, and then it breaks. It breaks really hard, really fast. And so a lot of this is like about that, but the show is also about the strategy of playing a game versus, like other teams, and learning about how to be a good manager and stuff. And they try to fit everybody in to give them like something of interest. Like one of the girls is really good at kendo. She's a national champion. That's how she convinced her mom to let her join the baseball team. Her mom's like, "You have to be the best in the world at kendo." She's like, "Fine, fuck it." And so in middle school, she went and won the national championship, and then said to her mom, "Good, I did it. Now I'm going to join the baseball team." And she can hit. But anyway, it's exciting enough to watch. Like it's like any other sports anime. I think that it's an exciting kind of thing to watch them play and do things, and realize that sometimes stuff doesn't really work, and it's like, And I liked it. I don't think I could ever say to anybody, "I think you should watch this." If you like sports anime, you might like this. I liked it well enough. I'm not giving things numbers. I think I liked this well enough. If they continued it, I don't know if I would keep watching it, because obviously at this point where they left things off, it's like they won a game. I think they won a game. I can't remember. Because it didn't matter. What mattered is that they all had a good time, and they learned things about themselves, and it was like, what matters is they did it. They did the thing, and the series is over, and the ending the ending animation is just filled with everyone drinking bubble tea, because I'm pretty sure that for whatever reason everyone had bubble tea in Japan 10, 15 years ago, and then promptly forgot that it existed, and then it's experiencing a fantastic resurgence. And so every goddamn anime and manga features people going to get bubble tea now. You cannot dissuade me of the idea that what has happened is that all the mangakas who are like in their 30s and 40s or whatever, who are finally getting series that were like people are picking up on, all remember drinking bubble tea when they were in like high school or junior high, and so they're bringing that back as a popular thing, like putting it in the manga. Everyone was drinking bubble tea, and then that just caused a resurgence of that. I'm sure that must have been it. If it was different, if it's as the people in chat are saying, that it was like, oh yeah, there's just a huge popularity surge in real life, and that's why all the mangakas are writing about it, then that makes sense too. But yeah, bubble tea is the new crepe. Bubble tea is the thing you go out for, because rather than going out for crepes, because it's just the new hot thing to do. It's also the new thing you do instead of like dessert buffets or, hanging out at game centers, I guess. I don't know what the hell. Anyway, I like bubble tea. Didn't think I would. Hey, fucking tangent, because why not? I remember actually having my first bubble tea when I was 21 years old. So that's about 20 years ago, in Edmonton, Alberta, which is where I went to university. And what it was this great Chinese food place, which got shut down due to health code violations for several years, and then eventually opened itself back up again. Um, they made they made rice roll long donut, and rice roll long donut is the shit. Oh, get yourself some rice roll long donut. Anyway, they had milkshakes on the menu that you could get with boba, and I had no idea what any of that was. And I asked her friend Manny. I asked her, "Hey, like, you eat here a lot. You know what all these things, like, what everything is supposed to be here?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, that's this, like, they're balls of tapioca." And I'm like, "What? Why would you do that?" And she's like, "No, it's really good." And I'm like, "Yeah, but why would you suck little, like the tiny?" And she's like, "No, they're not little." And I'm like, "Oh, so it's not like Orbits?" And she's like, "No, it's not like that shit at all. If no, probably none of you know what Orbits is." Anyway, it's like, "No, they're quite large." And so I ordered one and had one because I'm like, I gotta know what this is. I'm a poor university student though too. I mean, that's a weird thing to say, but anyway, poor university student. But I order one, $5 or whatever for this thing, and a giant ass straw, and no seal on top because that's not what they're doing. They're just making these things in the back and putting the boba in there. And had it, I'm like, oh, this is really neat. Didn't have one again for like 15 years, 15, 20 years. I'm pretty sure. Like, it just felt like I never had another one for a long time. And then bubble tea just showed up. It was everywhere all of a sudden. It was like, I did have another one at the Richmond Night Market, in and around the time we would go for Anime Evolution. So Richmond Night Market, they had bubble tea there. People were getting them. I had one too. And I'm like, oh, this thing that I had like about, a couple of years ago. But yeah, then after that, didn't have it for years after that. Anyway, moving on. That was fun. What a great aside. I could go for some right now. Nope, didn't watch this. Didn't watch this. Second season of Tsugamono. Didn't watch the original. Didn't watch this. Watanuki Sanchito. Didn't watch the original. Didn't watch this. Why does it sound so familiar, though? I don't know why. Anyway. Yesterday o utate. Yesterday o utate. Sing Yesterday for me, which hasn't come up. Nobody's sung Yesterday, which is literally, I think, the reference to the Beatles song. This is one of those shows where when Heather and I are both watching it, and it's one of the things that we don't leave till the end because it is a drama. It doesn't have stops for comedy or anything. This is a slow show, and I like that. I like that it is a very slow show, and it's emotionally complicated. And when it says here, a story of love and humanity following 4 boys and girls trying to live their best lives through hardship and turmoil, that is a misnomer. The part where it says a story of daily life lived 49% looking back, 51% looking forward, that is a little more accurate. You got to understand that these two people here knew each other in college, and that this girl here is one of her former students. She's a high school teacher now. This is one of her former students. And this guy here is the younger brother of the boy that she was in love with when she was in high school. These aren't boys and girls. This is a boy and a girl and a man and a woman. Or, 2 adults in their mid-20s and like a 17, 18, 19-year-old boy, 18, 19-year-old girl, and how their relationships become weirdly entangled. And I think it's also a bit of a story about how you become a different person when you're in your mid to late 20s than you were when you were like a lot younger. When you're 18, 19 years old, it's like there's a lot that happens. Like, adolescence is one thing, but that immediate post-adolescence thing, especially in the modern world, is different. So it's it is. I think it's a very interesting show, and I'm glad I'm watching it. It's Vidoga Kobo again, and I think they're doing an excellent job adapting it. It feels slow for a reason, and I'm glad it is slow. So yeah, this is good. If you're into dramas that are a bit romantic and you like a story that is willing to take its time to tell you what's going on, and you're willing to if you're willing to let these characters be who they are, and that's really tough, not just for this show, this is tough in general. A lot of people are like, I need to read myself in one of these characters. People will do, right? And it's like, I think if you're willing to let these people be who they are and understand that it's like these representations of these people are an acceptable way to be people, then I think there's more you can do about it. There's more you can relate to that in a larger like humanity context. I have never read the manga for this, and I don't know if I'll want to go read the manga when this is done. We'll see. And it is also, as The Amazing Race says, it's also a very pretty show. I think it's beautifully drawn, and I think that the time that they take with it and what they're showing off with it, I think it's like, yeah, they're doing a very. I wouldn't, if you showed me this and said this was taking place during a time when there aren't many animators available or studios are shuttering or like all these other things are happening because of a global pandemic, I'd be hard pressed to find any representation in the show that it's like that the technical aspect of the show that represents that things aren't getting animated or drawn or made properly. I'd be like, this looks like anything else that I would see come out at any other time. Moving on. Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens. I don't watch Yu-Gi-Oh! And that's an ad. Am I watching any TV shorts? Let's find out. I like gag anime. I didn't see this pop up anywhere, so I did not look for that. Bang Dream, not watching that. Besatsu Olympia Kiklos, I didn't see pop up anywhere where I could watch it. I know that there's probably are places to watch it because look, Crunchyroll's right there, and so I'm like, I could probably just get into Crunchyroll and watch it. But anyway, yeah, I want to watch this. It is a comedy. It is for the people who make Thermae Romae, and so I want to see what this is all about. It's essentially the same story, but yeah, is my understanding. Garu Gaku, Say Girls Square Gakuin. No, wasn't interested in that. Hula Ing Babies Aratame, no. Komatta Ji-san. I think I was reading the manga for this. I didn't see it pop up anywhere, so whatever. Michiri Wanko, nope. Neko Neko Nihonshi, nope. Norimono Man, Mobile Land no Karakun, nope. Origami Ninja Koyan, nope. Popcolis, nope. TV Yaro na 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 na. TV Yaro na 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 na. Kaibutsu Kaken, that's a fun one to say. Plunderer, wasn't watching that. Toaru Kagaku no Railgun. That didn't, I don't even know if that got finished or not, but if it did, we didn't go back and finish it, so. Oh, Pat Bear tells me no one has picked up the Old Man Show and I wish someone had. Yeah, me too, then. Damn it. But anyway. Let's see. Movies. I lied. Holy shit. I was like, I don't think we watched any movies rolling past Digimon Adventure right into Nakitai Watashi wa Neko wa Kaburu. Or you might know it from Netflix as A Whisker Apart. Heather and I watched this. We never watch anime movies anymore because it's hard to find platforms where I'll see stuff like that show up. If you got Netflix, this was fun. This was cute. It was... I mean, you'll probably figure it out like I did, but...
It's so good. Just watch it.
Yeah. You got an hour and 49 minutes of your life? Watch it. It's if you're looking for a way to, spend an evening and you're like, I need to watch something, this was a fun little watch. Watch it. It's about a girl who fell in love with her classmate, and she keeps bothering him, but she really likes him, and it's just really, really nice. So it's... Will it rip your heart out? I mean, it didn't rip mine out, Blue Lotus Designs, but I mean, you've now heard from Heather, you've heard from me. It was it was fun, it was interesting, and I say watch it. Psycho-Pass 3, not watching Psycho-Pass, so didn't know Seven Seeds. Aikatsu on a Parade. That sounds so familiar, but no, I'm not watching that. Didn't watch that. Didn't watch that. Didn't watch that. Didn't watch that. Okay. Not all of BNA, I think, came out. Brand New Animal came out. But the 6 episodes we watched, I liked it. I think Heather liked it all right, too. We were like, oh, well, let's just watch the 6 that are out and do that. And I don't, I feel weird about trigger stuff because sometimes I wonder, like, other than like they make really like interesting animation and it's good and it's fun, like there's entertaining, like that kind of thing. Um, Sometimes I don't know if like I don't know if anything new is being said with this series. But it's one of those things where I'm like, I don't know if it technically has to have anything new to be said. Like a lot of different ideas have been explored, and that doesn't always have to mean that, especially in something that is an action and sci-fi thing. It's like that is also interesting to me sometimes to watch those kind of things. So, I mean, is it a recommendation? I think people should sit and watch it. I think it's the same way like I would recommend Beastars to people to be like, if you like anthropomorphized humans, and I do, then you'll probably find something interesting to watch here. I thought Beastars had a very interesting world building thing going on, and I think this has an interesting world building type thing going on as well. It's weirder in that humans exist in this world, whereas in Beastars humans have not or have never been a thing. It seems so. It different tacks on how you would build worlds in that case. So yeah, I don't know. It's Season 1, Greystone says, Season 1 says coming to Netflix on June 30th. So probably see all of it show up on Netflix there. It says 12 episodes have already aired on March 21st. I only saw 6 show up how I was getting it. So, yeah. I will take questions from chat once I'm finished rolling through here. So if you want to ask me about stuff, because we're going to have to take a break here pretty quick. Anyway, so Cinderella Girls, Gekijo, Extra Stage, didn't watch that. Dodo Hedoro. I didn't watch the series, so I didn't watch this either. I think that's because I couldn't pick it up anywhere, how I've been getting it. So I wanted to watch a few episodes of it because because I can't read the manga. I tried reading the manga. Corey recommended the manga to me. She's like, you probably really enjoy it. It's horror, but it's also comedy, and those kind of things. And I'm just like, should I? Can I? Must I? And people are saying the anime's on Netflix. If it's on US Netflix, it's not on Netflix. Just putting that out there. But a part of what gets me about the Dodo Herodo, it is on Canadian Netflix. Thank you for people who watch Canadian Netflix. Part of what gets me about it is the art style, how dirty it is, and I find it very hard. If you want me to read stuff, like it'd be very hard for me to read stuff where the art is very grungy, very filthy and dirty, and that kind of thing. If you hand me a shoujo manga and the reproduction of it is also like dirty and looks like it's been photocopied 3 times, I wouldn't want to read that either. That's just, I really like clean lines. I really like stuff that's been like, that is, very gingerly detailed, has been made with very like thin looking whatever. So that's what I like. So that's kind of always going to be a thing for me. Great Pretender didn't watch. Gundam Build Divers didn't watch. Heya Camp, wanted to, didn't. I love the fact that this is an adaptation of a manga collaboration with the Yamaha Motor Company, which would probably mean that this has to do with either Yamaha makes the bike that Rin rides, the scooter that she has, or Yamaha makes the bike that her grandfather rides around on. I don't know, but yeah, I kind of want to watch it because I'm like, oh, it's a collab with Yamaha. I got to see how that would go down. But yeah, so released early on YouTube for a limited time. I don't know if that means it's fully out or not. I don't know if anyone actually looked, but yeah, this is only a one-off episode. Then it wasn't like a 6-episode thing. That's fair. Jashin-chan Dropkick. Didn't watch the original. Oh, Dropkick Prime. Don't want to lose out on that apostrophe there. So didn't watch that. There's episode 12 of the Prime thing, whatever. It's funded by Chitose's hometown tax program, in which taxpayers can donate to city programs in exchange for tax breaks and other incentives. This story will deal with the process and incentives of the hometown tax program. This is a real thing. I don't. No, just move on. I don't even want to think about it. I have to watch this. I got to find these somehow. I don't know if I'm going to find them, but I'm sure they're very fun. This is to do with Hamefura shorts, where they're apparently all the chibi versions of themselves that live in the voting committee in her head, the discussion committee in her head. But anyway, another Hamefura mini anime posted on Twitter. God damn it. Okay, so I just started watching this, and people have opinions. My opinion is I think I would enjoy the visual of it better if it was actually animated to look like this. Also, I have to turn off every light in my house so I can watch it on my TV. My TV, I've turned off every sort of thing that is built into it, like motion smoothing, like 120 hertz, whatever. I have turned off dynamic range. I have turned off like every single goddamn thing you can think of on my TV. If it says it's on, I turned it off, including the speakers. I have a stereo system that I love, and I use that. So it alternates from bright as fuck to dark as you'll never see anything again. It ping-pongs between that shit so much, so it's a very hard watch, and I have to turn everything off. And Netflix's subtitling is ugly as hell. I'm watching it on the Netflix app on our Apple TV. And it's just kind of miserable-looking subtitling. I'm like, you guys could just make this so much better, but you don't. So whatever. Yes, SJC Theos, this is the one with the new going to the store scene. In fact, I think I just watched that episode the other day. This has been... this is like... The CG does look really kind of cool. Heather had said it looks like a video game. Like, it looks like a really good video game, obviously. But, I mean... and it's been different to watch it. And the first couple episodes, I was just kind of like, Jesus Christ, we're doing a lot of the things that are like, hey, remember Ghost in the Shell? Or rather, even more like, remember Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex? How much you love that? Well, here is all of the action shit that you loved about. I'm like, hang on. What I loved about Ghost in the Shell wasn't just watching people shoot shit. What I liked watching about Ghost in the Shell was, here's a problem, here's how we're going to address it, and then here's the solution. But also it's weird because the beginning of the show is all about how people are rebelling against the global simultaneous default that the G4, the biggest 4 countries in the world, including the American Empire, were involved in, which basically shut down every world economy and just cratered the global economy altogether. People lost all their debt, like student debt completely erased, credit card debt completely erased, apparently, for whatever reason. But in order to get the economy kicking again, the world decided that what they need to do is start engaging in something called sustainable war, which is something that AIs drive, but also is something that's being backed by the nations all around the world to basically be like, well, how do we make this work? Well, I know what we'll do is we'll start the process of sustainable war, which means that if you run a company that deals in weapon systems or AI or any sort of other like things along that what you need to run sustainable war, then congratulations, you're going to keep making money. Are you one of the 99%? Then you're going to be the unfortunate recipients of that sustainable war. And if that bothers you, well, then you should have been one of the 1%, shouldn't you? That's okay, though, because our team here from the former Section 9 are now a mercenary team that is working for the 1%. This is not... This is a bad time to release a show like this. This is a terrible fucking... I have a real hard time watching. Don't worry, the really, really qualified mercenaries are definitely fighting for the people on top and their rights. It's... Well, because, and it's like, isn't that the antithesis of the entire series? The entire series is, like, I would argue the entire series of Ghost in the Shell is the people on top, the people really on top, like the people who are running politics, right? The people in like the prime minister and stuff like that. Everybody in the political arenas are already corrupt as they are, and the point of Ghost in the Shell is we see through that. We understand that those people are doing those things, but we have to occupy a space in which the government is paying for us to act as a paramilitary outfit that takes care of problem situations. And while they can do their level best to make sure that the people on the bottom are not being affected, they don't work for those people at the bottom. They work for the people on top. And while Aramaki might try to position Section 9, and in this case Section 9 doesn't exist anymore, while he tries to position Section 9 to do the right thing as often as he can, more often than not, Section 9's thing is to fight some of the 1% on behalf of the other 1%. And it just kind of blows open this thing of what we've been having a lot of problems with. And it's a fascinating look, I mean, at what a society like that could be like in the future. But when you have a series that is saying things like, that's kind of has these people on this team that are saying things about, you guys shouldn't be here. Like, they didn't kill everybody who's part of the raiding teams, the people who are like on the low end, who like have lost all their depth. They've also lost like everything else that they have as well. And you have them saying it's like, you need to, not be involved in this. It's like they have no choice but to be involved in this. But it's like, you shouldn't be here fighting these things. You shouldn't be working for these people. It's like, there's nothing for us to do, man. The wealth isn't ever going to come to us. We have no choice but to do these things because we need to be able to do something. We need to, we have run out of hope. We've run out of all other options. And they're like, no, there are options. It's like, what fucking options are left? So it has a real tone issue right now. So, yeah. And you can talk about all the ethical issues to do with it, but ultimately it's, so anyway. Funny thing, we just mentioned the ad break. I'm gonna have to take the ad break right now, so let's do that. I was hoping I'd get to the end of this list. We are really close, but I'm gonna just take the ad break real now. We'll come back, do some more subs. We'll finish this list. I'll do a real quick rundown of what I'm running in the next season because there's not a lot of stuff in the next season that I want to watch. But for now, please enjoy these commercials. We'll see you in a few minutes. Welcome back to the booth. Ah, crap. Turn on the switch. Now I can hear my own ears better. It's a weird thing to say. Hi, it's Beej. We're still doing the 2020 Anime Roundup. Boy, I thought this was only going to take an hour. It is not taking an hour. So let's continue. Oh, wait, I got a few notifications, so I'll do that real quick. The Meerkat gave 5 subs to the channel. That's Tap Dancing Beavers, Blue Dragoon TV, T-Z, J300,000. No, hang on. J30 million. All those zeros together makes me go a little cross-eyed. And a non-unique guy all got subs from the Meerkat. Thank you, the Meerkat. That guy 575 here with 300 bits. Thank you for the 300 bits. And as a heads up, if you are giving 300 bits or more, you're resubbing to the channel, or you're giving out gift subs. When you do that, Twitch is giving a 10% donation to a maximum of $300,000. And this until July 16th, July 17th, 15th, 16th? Anyway, to the Trevor Project and to the National Black Justice Coalition, both of which I believe are US-based charities. You can go check them out. And that's just from doing the thing you might normally do here anyway. So please do that because it is supporting worthy causes. Excuse me. I want to thank Drek Zero for 40 months of resubbing. Thank you so much. God, every time I take a drink, just Koshindan for 3 whole years. Congrats on your anniversary. Red Keyframe for 18 months. Welcome back. The Alan Heffley, that is an L there, it looks like, subscribed for 48 months. And Zoden subscribed for 27 months. That's a cube. Welcome back. Glad you're here. Let me change back to the chat so I can see what everyone's saying. I saw you guys mentioning stuff. I promise you, everybody, I am going to... I will answer questions if I have time. I don't know if I'm going to have time because when we conclude here, Heather's going to come in and start streaming on her channel on Lunar Jade. And we don't not going to raid, but if you want to watch her stream after this, you can do that, or you can also see what the team, the Lure team, has for their own streams as well. But yeah, Heather will come in here after I'm done, and she's being very patient with me, taking my damn time trying to do this. Don't know why I thought it would only take an hour. So let's go back to, this side. Bottom line, because I didn't say one way or the other, you heard my feelings about the new Ghost in the Shell. I still like it. I'm about 6 episodes in. I'm going to continue watching it, get to the end of it. I think it is still interesting. I just got to the I think it was the episode in the middle where Bato has a little, he has his own little thing that happens in the middle. He has an episode to himself, essentially. And I was like, okay, so I still want to watch this. I am going to still watch this. And we'll see where it goes. I would never say anyone to not watch this. Also, I have liked Ghost in the Shell for a very long time. So to me, this is watching more of a thing that I did always enjoy. And it is interesting to see them do it in a new style. Whether or not that will be a continuing thing going forward. Whether they will come back to a little more of this kind of painterly art style, which I actually think looks really cool. We'll see. Thematic issues notwithstanding, I don't know what will happen later on in the show, obviously. I'm only 6 episodes in. I did not watch the whole thing, so... Moving on. Kyoryu Shoujo Gaoko. Didn't watch the first one, didn't watch the second one. Looked like a very cute idea. And I guess it is on Netflix, and if we have it in Netflix Canada, then maybe I will watch it. We'll see. Mazushi Orphan Hagure Tabi Tenjin no Isan. Didn't watch the Orphan to begin with. Didn't watch this to begin with. Machine Eiyu Den Wataru. Didn't watch that. Poketoon. I don't know what that is. A silent animation released on YouTube resembling typical slapstick American cartoons. Oh, that sounds cute. Well, if I see them quote something, I'll online somewhere, maybe I will watch some of it. People say, oh, here, you should watch this. And maybe I'll watch it. We'll see. Puso Nikomi Okawari. Well, I never played... Okay, so I never played Phantasy Star Online, therefore never played PSO2. I have never read their official web manga, Puso Nikomi Phantasy Star Online 2 comic, and I didn't watch the first season of the anime adaptation, so no, didn't watch this. Runaway de Warate. Runway de Warate mini. We watched Runway de Warate, didn't watch the shorts. I should maybe get a look at them. But moving on. Saizuru Dobutsu wa Yarushikanai. Promote the incoming Saizuru Toi no Habata Kanai, The Clouds Gather. Oh, it's a mini anime for a thing that I don't know if I'm going to watch. It's a movie. Moving on. Soul Levante. This is on Netflix. We were looking for stuff to watch the other night. We did not watch this. I don't know if it's going to be my jam or not. We'll see. There's extras for this. Post-credit scenes. Adapting manga content covering the main series. Following episodes 1, 2, 3, 4, 9, and 12. Once we're finished, maybe I'll go look these up and watch them. We'll see. Yokoso Japari Park. Didn't watch the original. Zashiki Watashi no Tatami-chan. Pleasant horror gag comedy. I mean, I like that kind of thing, the pleasant kind of thing. I didn't watch it, though. It's on Crunchyroll. Looks like it's on... That's a YouTube link, but didn't watch it. Don't know if I really want to overall, but anyway. And that's everything that has been referenced according to AniChart. If there are things that I've missed, things that didn't come up and didn't get listed here, I apologize for that. But again, I mean, also not my problem because I don't run the page. And I guess my standout thing that you should absolutely watch this season is, well, shit, look at that. You do yourself a disservice if you like watching anime and you don't watch She-Ra and the Princesses of Power. Because if you haven't seen it, there are 5 seasons. 1 was a split season. So it's 2 and 3 is actually kind of one thing that can go together. And 52 episodes of one of the finest shows I've seen in a very, very, very long time. The one thing you're going to have to say to yourself, especially if you're my age, is this is Y7, right? Or this is rated youth. This is not teen. This is not 14A. We have 14A in Canada. This is not a PG-13 show. This is rated for youth. Kind of like you would think maybe like E for Everyone kind of deal. So you're going to watch it and be like, hey, but what about, and I did the same thing. I have not been able, we watched the final season a month ago, and I still haven't been able to shake it. I have custom lists set up on my Twitter for the crew of the show, because they've been, just to see things that they are posting for She-Ra, but also they're posting so much BLM stuff and so much protest stuff, and it's been so great to just see all this great. I've been reading more Twitter again, just thanks to following what they have to say. I also have a custom like tag set up, search to look for things that I want. I fucking downloaded the Tumblr app. I haven't made a Tumblr account yet, but I've downloaded the app. I want to be also clear though too. While on Crossing the Streams, when we did Jackbox, I said, half-assed fanfic is the place that you turn to when you're coming down off of an emotional high. I haven't read any fanfic because I actually don't really like fanfic. I have read a lot of like the kind of fanfic you can fit in a tweet, where people are like, here's a fun little headcanon-y thing where I've been like, oh, do I want to read this or not? Or here's a cute little conversation these two had that's clearly meant to be goofy. It's like, sure, like Adoris says this to Glimmer, or Glimmer says this to Bo, like those kind of things. I'm like, sure. All I want is just read the little comics people write, look at the images people make. Like, that's the stuff I like. I don't want to read fanfic. I'm too susceptible to the written word. I know this about myself. If I read fanfic, I will think that this is actually a thing that's happening. I think that it's canon. And all I ask is nobody ruin what goes on in this show for anyone who hasn't seen it yet. I think it's a great ride to have all the way through without being spoiled on how things are happening, even though it's been out for a month. I'm like, no, just let people sit and enjoy it. And I hope you'll find a way to enjoy it too. I don't normally make recommendations for non-anime in an anime production like the thing we do here, but this has been affecting. And yeah, I mean, I highly recommend it. So let us now talk about summer. And I believe I am always also happy to talk to people about those kind of things too. If people want to talk about She-Ra with me, I would be more than happy to talk about that in Discord and stuff. But yeah, Tumblr's a fucking nightmare, by the way. It's trying to open it on my phone, and I click the recent tab on tags that I'm looking at, and it's like, oh yeah, here's all the recent stuff, and I'm like, no, I've read all those posts a dozen times. Where's all the, hang on, and I click top, and then it shows me, here's all the stuff that happened recently, and I'm like, what are you doing? Why? But then it's not all the stuff that happened recently. Is this just random? Is Tumblr just random? Is that what happens now? It's awful. That's why I like going to Twitter to look all this stuff up, but they miss things. But anyway. So. Have I been watching any non-seasonal anime? Okay, let's do a couple questions in real quick. Trigger Happy asked me, have you been watching any non-seasonal anime? No, we were looking for things to fill our time, though, and we went back and we're just kind of idly watching Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun again. And I'm not really looking to rewatch the whole thing, but it's just been like a nice thing to put an episode on to be like, I want something to watch while we eat dinner, and I guess we'll just put this on and watch it because it is goofy. And you remember things or recognize stuff. So that's been fun. I hope they give Nozaki-kun another season. I hope they give it another 12 seasons. I mean, shit, I hope I hope She-Ra gets a movie. What I want for She-Ra is give them a movie. I think a movie would be a lot of fun, especially if you had a grand idea for things to do. But what I really want, if you're going to spend 120 minutes on something, is I want 24 5-minute shorts. That's what I want. I want, like, I don't have to give an opening theme or ending theme or whatever. What I want is, I want all the stuff that people are like, I want to see more. I want epilogue bits. I want this. I'm like, sure, I get that. But I want all the slice of life things that everyone's been clamoring for. It's like, I want to see what they're like when they're in space. I want to see what it's like when everyone goes to go do this. I want to see what I'm like, yeah, then just make some official shorts, right? All the goofy little things, the 5-minute like little moments that they have. They go to another princess prom, shots from the future, all these other kind of things. You can do that, and then everyone can have those things, and they can be small, and they can come out over a period of time, and you can still get like 120 minutes of new shit out of this, but it doesn't have to be a whole new season. Seasons to me always feel like, if you're going to do an episode of something, you're going to do 24 minutes. trying to do a slice of life story about an adventure story is just really, really hard to do, right? And like, I think it's a really weird pivot. Steven Universe Future, I think, did it actually fairly well, where it's like, we're gonna do 11-minute things, but they still had to give Steven something to do that was a growth thing for this episode to feel like something. But in 5 minutes, you don't have to do a growth thing. You can just do a moment of time, and people won't feel like it has to have a grand purpose. Like, a movie might be a thing where it's like, we have this unresolved thread that everyone's been talking for us to resolve. We can go resolve that now. And it's like, yes, you could. That would be a good thing to put in a movie. But with shorts, you don't have to do that. I want to see a movie, but I'd love to see a bunch of shorts. Anyway. So, Decadence. Falling into that thing where I'm like, I'm seeing names that I don't understand. I don't know. And this is, oh, that's a funny pun. Oh, there's people who are gears, and then there are people who are tankers. And I don't know if I'm going to want to watch this or read this or do anything with Decadence, so I don't think I'm going to pick up on this, so I'm sorry about that. Dokyu Hentai Hixeros. Ecchi has the word hentai in the title. Obviously not going to be probably as bad as we expected to be. It just didn't really seem like I'm like, it's a superhero team to combat this race of alien invaders that feels out the collected libidos of the human race. I'm like, I don't think that's going to be my jam. You know? I don't know. Probably not. Enen no Shobotai. Didn't watch or rather we dropped the first one. Not going to come back to the second one. So that's Gibieto. Which sounds like deviate, but Gibieto. So, in 2030 Japan, a virus has infected humans throughout the world. Infected people turn into different forms of monsters based on the ages, sexes, and races. Oh, it's going to be like, you know, I turned into a tree. And like your girlfriend's like, I turned into a sexy lady tree. Maybe, who knows. Virus is called Jibia, after being rich in variety like Jibia. Just then, a pair of samurai ninja appeared in such a blighted wasteland in Japan, 2030. I don't know. Action adventure looks very, you know, Hokuto no Ken, very Fist of the North Star. Not really my thing. So, Kanojo Okairi Shimasu. Comedy, ecchi. I'm like, still cute girls. I like cute girls, but rental services where you can rent a friend, a parent, or a fake girlfriend. This guy named Kazuya doesn't even get the last name. Just Kazuya, who's a freshman in college, gets betrayed by his girlfriend, decides, no, I'm going to rent a girlfriend, rent an emotional connection. And then she finds out her real life and Kazuya's real life are intertwined in surprising ways. Sure, I don't know. Maybe their parents get married and it turns out they're... I don't know. Could be cute, could be funny. I might end up watching it. We'll see. I don't know what I want to do with this one. I was just like, I might skip it, I might not. I'm real, like, kind of not... I don't know. We'll see. Koito producer, Evil X Love. Producer, Evil Love. This is a game recently released in China for iOS and Android systems. And I just kind of felt like, might not be my jam. Looks a little like dark and other things are happening, but also it's like she's a producer, so I don't really know. Anyway. Lapis Relights. I don't know anything about it. Just a lot of girls with, as you can see, with like corset style top thing. But they're from different schools, I think. Maybe. No, they're all wearing, no, they're in a different, oh, maybe it's all different grades. A lot of girls, though. Don't know what any of that, oh, it's music. Okay, should have looked at that. So, doesn't matter. Mao Gakuin no Futeki Gosha. Shijo Saikyo no Mao no Shiso Tensei shite Shishon Tachi no Gakko e Kayo. I don't think I'm going to watch Mao Gakuin no Futeki Gosha. Shijo Saikyo no Mao no Shisho Tensei shite Shishon Tachi no Gakko e Kayo. I'm not sure why. It might have to do with the title Mao Gakuin no Futeki Gosha. Shijo Saikyo no Mao no Shisho Tensei shite Shishon Tachi no Gakko e Kayo. Somebody's saying I should read the manga Mao Gakuin no Futeki Gosha. Shijo Saikyo no Mao no Shisho Tensei shite Shishon Tachi no Gakko e Kayo. I'll have to try to remember the title. I don't know. I don't know. Comedy, fantasy, romance, kind of like, sure, maybe like Demon King's tired of all the whatever. He reincarnates. He ends up going to school with the descendants in his old castle 2,000 years later. It seems like a possible harem thing, except these are his descendants. But anyway, Pipo. Yes, the Jugemu thing. Thank you very much for that. I don't know if this will be my jam. I am going to watch this. I saw Monster Musume. I'm like, well, okay, you got me, anime. You know what my fucking weakness is every time. But I'm reading the manga. And also I see that comedy, ecchi, fantasy, romance. And I was kind of like, well, I knew that going into that as well, because it generally is that too. And yes, it does look like a harem series. It certainly does. But it doesn't feel like it. That's what got me. Reading the manga, I'm like, this doesn't feel like they're setting it up to be any sort of harem series. I mean, all the monsters he ends up working... That's the thing that gets me, though, too, is I'm like, I know what this is for, because all the monster people he ends up working on, and there are not just monster girls, there are monster boys, obviously, but it's always monster girls. So, yeah. I'm just like, this is a completely... This has nothing to do with Monster Musume. Like Monmusu has nothing to do with that. This is just as Monster Musume is monster girls, monster maidens, whatever you want to refer to as Musume. And this is just the guy is a doctor, and his the Lamia nurse assistant, whatever. They actually went to school together, and she's made out to be like a nurse, but she's not a nurse. I think she's actually a trained doctor as well, and there's a lot of like setting up like, yes, girls and touching and all these other kind of things, but he is a doctor, and he's not being pervy or anything about that either. The perviness is set up by the fact that the girls react and they're gonna to stuff too. But there's also like a darker subplot going on in the overall universe, because as you can see, this is all like Tudor European art, like that kind of thing. I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna see whether it's actually good or not. It might even inform whether or not I keep reading the manga. Muhyo to Roji no Mahoritsu Sodan Jimusho 2. Didn't watch the first, not going to watch the second. Ninja Collection. Oh, it's a Yami Shibai spin-off. Interesting. No. They just have it down straight as horror anyway, and I'm not a horror fan as it is, so I think I'm just going to skip it based on that. No Guns Life. Well, we dropped that. Peter Grill to Kenja no Jikan. The story centers on the titular protagonist, Peter Grill. I'm going to guess it's the dude who's nude. The nude dude. Strongest man in the world. While he has a girlfriend named Luvilia he's sworn to spend the rest of his life with. Luvilia still believes that babies are delivered by storks. Which one is Luvilia? Which one here is the one he's going to spend the rest of his life with? Is it this one, because she's got the most clothing on, and she's in the foreground? Is it this one, because she's angry that other women are coming after him to fuck him? I don't know. I'm not going to watch it. Re:Zero Kara Hajimeru Isekai Seikatsu second season. Right, second season, not going to watch that. Didn't watch the original. No, I'm not watching Sword Art Online. The God of High School. I love that it's all in all caps. That's fun. Thinking about this kind of... if it's like Blazing Transfer Student, then I'm kind of all for it. If it's not like Blazing Transfer Student, I don't know if I'll care. Probably based on a manhwa, based on the fact that it's in Korea and his name is Mori Jin, and he's a taekwondo specialist. So I don't know much about any of that. Though what I don't like is fighting tournament. And that's always been a hard push for me. If somebody says fighting tournament, I'm kind of like, peace out. Not interested. Uzaki-chan wa asobitai. All right, so Uzaki-chan wants to hang out. How did I know the name of that? So Sakurai Shinichi is this dude whose face you cannot see. He just wants to hang out and have a quiet time. And Uzaki Hana, the girl here, whose oppa you cannot see, because these are her character traits, by the way. This is a fun manga, actually. It really is. The fact that she has giant breasts kind of has very little bearing, I found, on what's going on late in the manga anyway. But Jesus, it just is like, these are the two things you need to know about this character, is that she's a lot of fun. She wants to hang out with Senpai because she likes to annoy him. And that's really it. She likes to hang out to annoy him. And I have no idea if we'll actually get to the point where they're going to date. But you know that they're supposed to date. That's kind of the idea, is eventually they date. I mean, Green Mitten says basically Takagi-san, but adults. No. Uzaki-chan is not that clever. She is not cunning in the slightest. She just wants to hang out. They're in college. They just wants to hang out in college and just kind of be around him and annoy him. And yeah, Lucinda Gustav says, yeah, it's only in the covers of the manga where her boobs are like very prominent. It's sort of a weird bait and switch, and it kind of is a weird bait and switch, but it's what makes I think what makes it fun. And they will probably in the first couple episodes really play up the fact that she's got big boobs, and you're not going to see that have much of an effect on anything else. Maybe through like pervy guys showing up to try to hit on her or something else, but yeah. Anyway, I think it's going to be fun. I'm going to watch it, absolutely. And Pat was right. He called me on that. He knew I was going to watch it. Yahari ore no seishun love comedy wa machigatteru kan. So it's the third season. I didn't watch the other ones. We're not going to watch that one. That is something. That's an ad. Cho Futsutoshi Kashiwa Densetsu R. I mean, I'm all for surreal gag anime about people in high school. In high school. I do like that the idea is it's set in a real town, that it's meant to loosely convey the charm of Kashiwa, and it's related to the town. I'm like, if this gets put anywhere, I will probably watch it, because tourism anime, I kind of like. I think it's kind of fun. So pick that up if I actually see it somewhere. Get Up, Get Live? No, probably not this. Just when I start seeing things like, oh, this is an entertainment project or something like that, I'm like, I don't know. Something about watching things about the entertainment industry. Like, I love the hey, let's talk about the towns, and I don't like, let's talk about the talent industry. Anyway. Obaki Zukan. I don't know. That's going to be a thing I care about. Umayan. Hey, remember we talked about Uma Musume Pretty Derby? Why did I bring that up again? Because I was reminded by this. If this gets a localization anywhere, of course I'm going to watch it. I have to see what the hell goes on. The fact that they made a Yonkoma out of Uma Musume, I got to see what's going to go on in that. I don't even know if I can... I remember Special Week. I remember she's in something or other. Where's the one that wears the headphones who's a lot of fun? Golden something, or was that her? I can't fucking remember their names anymore. I'll remember them eventually, but yeah, gonna do that. All right. Nope, not watching Bakugan. Okay, so this must have gotten like delayed if episode 5 is airing in 9 hours, so they must have been really hard delayed on that. So if I can find one to watch, there's Crunchyroll there, probably end up watching that. Fruits Basket continuing on, thank God. Please give me the whole story. I'll be watching that. Galgaku, Say Girls Square Gakuin. I feel like, are we on Leftovers? We're not on Leftovers. We are on Leftovers, that's why, okay. Wasn't watching Galgaku, wasn't watching Mukul Dreamy, Poco Lies, or Shadowverse. Cudwafter. Not playing Little Busters, I don't know anything about that. Muñeodo. That looks kind of interesting. I don't know if I will watch it or not. Shika no O, I think, is already up, isn't it? No, it's coming way later. Oh, I saw the manga show up recently, yeah, and I was wondering if I should read it or not, but I don't know much about, like, when I saw the manga, I was like, I don't think it's going to be my thing, but if it is going to be just a movie, maybe it's worth watching the movie on that. That could be kind of interesting. Shingeki no Kyojin, never watched that. Sung Hyung Soo. Beauty water looks like a common skin cosmetic, but they can sculpt their skin with it like molding clay and change their appearance. It's an interesting idea. But it's a horror thriller. Nope, not going to watch that. Tokyo Seven Sisters. Smartphone game. Nope. Umebe no étranger. I don't know if this is my thing either, so I will probably not watch this. 22, not interested in that. Not interested in that. Not interested in Cinderella Girls or Great Pretender. Kabukicho Sherlock, definitely not fucking interested in that. More of that. Nihon Shinbotsu 2020. This is, the four members of the Muto family are caught in an earthquake that hits Tokyo and attempts to save the city while disaster claws at their heels. They moved it from the 1970s Japan up to 2020 just after the Tokyo Olympics. I'm assuming that's because of the original Tokyo Olympics taking place closer to that period of time anyway. Maybe they're like, we should move this up. You know what we should do is we should do a disaster movie based on the Tokyo Olympics to freak everyone the fuck out, I guess. But if I have a chance to watch it, it's coming on Netflix. I may end up watching it. We'll see. Science Saru. I mean, they did Night is Long Walk On Girl, and I really enjoyed that. So, yeah, I'll probably watch that. Ore no ski wa ore o ski nano wa omae dake ka yo. Ore tachi no game set. Seems like it should be sports. Is not. You have a sporty person up here, but story will center on the protagonist Joro, a ordinary male high school student, and Jose, a perfect human who can do anything. Well, anyway. Yeah. Weird, right? Like, some leftovers like Fruits Basket that I'm interested in, but really Umayon and Cho Futsutoshi Kashiwa Densetsu R. Oh, it's a sequel to Densetsu Z. Oh, I didn't see Densetsu Z, so maybe I might not be able to get that one either. And then like Uzaki-chan wa Sobitai, God of High School, maybe we'll see. Just kind of, and Monster Musume no Oisha-san, like we're up to maybe 3 or 4 things. Not a lot. And then maybe I end up watching Kanojo Okarishimasu, maybe. There is a better one about the rent-a-person genre that I really liked. There was a Yuri series that was basically about renting a wife, where you can rent somebody to come over to your house to clean your house and cook you food, and I think they will spend time with you while you're having dinner or whatever, and then they will go. That's kind of their whole thing. I wish that got an anime, because it was cute. I like that. There's a lot of Yuri series I'm reading that I wish got anime, but anyway. Yeah, not much else. Not looking at much else coming up in the summer, really, overall. It was something Yomi, or Yome, because Yome means bride. Something Yome. You'll probably figure it out. Okay, so very briefly, before I have to go offline, I'm going to read our last notifications and take a couple questions if I can. Thank you to the Maricat, because we are going offline pretty quick here, but I will try to answer a couple questions because I want to get offline so Heather can come in here and get set up as well. The Maricat's given 5 subs to the channel again. Thank you, the Maricat, and welcome to JTK45, Ma Junior 17, Excelia Lecuyer, but the Jesus, and Milanomi Lily. Welcome to the channel. Aurelian 2773, been here for 41 months. Can't wait to watch the VOD and get all the recs. Hope you enjoy it. Ewoked away for 13 months. 13's that prime number goodness. It's awesome. Jigokuro gives 1,000 bits, saying apparently Ahiro no Sora is non-seasonal. It wasn't with the spring list. Have you seen it? I have not seen Ahiro no Sora. It's based on a personal story and also a sports anime. Rare for both to hit so well. Like, I've never seen it this good ever. Weird lips, though. Okay, well, I'll remember that and see if I check it out sometime. Also, The Amazing Race with a sub for 4 months. Welcome back, Amazing Race. E-Block with another 300 bits. Thank you, E-Block. And Sue said, thanks, Beach. That was fun. I'm glad you enjoyed that. So, okay, so Yes, the people are asking me, what's the Yuri Rent-A-Person called? I believe it ends in Yome. You'll have to probably search for it. You might find it. Oh, wait. Maybe Mariket's already found it. Let me just have a look here. Kanojo Okairi Shimasu is not the Yuri one, it looks like. This looks like the... Yeah, this is the one that's getting a series that we just talked about, which I may end up watching, but we'll see. The other one is... Crap. It's in my list of things to read, and it's all one word, I think, too, which is the hard part. Dex. Crap. Come on, Beach. Don't, it's, is it Hana Yome? No, that's something different, I think. Yeah, there's a bunch of things that end in Hana Yome, but... Manga Dex. Rent a Bride. That's not it. That's not it. She's Yome. Nope. I don't know where you'll find it. I mean, it did just tell me about Otoyo Megatari, which, if you're not reading a bride's story, Otoyo Megatari, it's fantastic, and the art is astounding. But yeah, that's all I guess we're going to have here. And thank you to everybody who supports us on YouTube by becoming a member, not just a subscriber, but you can pay to be a member there, and also you can also back us on Patreon though too. You can go to patreon.com/loadingreadyrun, and for all of our Twitch subs and for the people who gave bits today, thank you so much. Your donations and your general largesse and support not only help us, but of course until the middle of July, anytime you are giving 300 bits or more, or a gift sub, or renewing your sub, you are also pushing Twitch to donate, I believe, 10 cents for every one of those things to a maximum of $300,000 to the Trevor Project and the National Black Justice Coalition, both U.S.-based charities. Do check in if you're interested. Oh my God, I think they found it. I mean, Kudo Yome's on Dynasty Readers, so it's probably this. Yep, that's it. Kudo Yome. It's super cute. Kudo Yome, all one word, Kuroyome. Check that out, because I thought it was a nice, cute thing. There's a lot of nice, cute things that I like. But and yeah, if you guys want to talk about anime, or you want to yap at me for any reason, you can always find me in places like the Discord, discord.gg/loadingready/LRR. We do have a Discord. Feel free to join that. You can always say hi to, you can say hi to any of us, because a lot of us all have accounts there. Just hang out and talk to other people, and you can message us if you want to have a question for things too. We're pretty open people. We don't mind responding to people, if they don't have like a really long involved question or anything like that. And yeah, go watch She-Ra, because it was amazing. I'm gonna take off. Stick around, or no, not stick around here, but go check out Lunar Jade's channel in a few minutes. That is when she will be coming online to do her streaming for the night. And until then, please enjoy these commercials, because commercials help the world go round these days.